like the stream by tapping the screen. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. It'll help get it out to more people. Not on YouTube, only on TikTok. TikTok won't recommend me for like a few more minutes. But yeah, all right. So you asked what was my position on immigration. So my position on immigration is that anyone who's in the country undocumented who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime should be given a pathway to citizenship, where they do not have to leave the country. I think that's the best way to ensure that everyone in the country is vetted, right? And we also have to couple that with a quicker immigration process to incentivize people to go through the legal immigration system, right? So all the money that they're putting into militarizing ICE, let's take that money, let's also abolish ICE, and let's put that money into making the legal immigration process go significantly quicker, right? And have the vetting process go significantly quicker, right? And that
I
will overall
totally
create a
agree
better
with the
system.
process going quicker.
Yeah, and it will
Totally
allow
agree.
for law enforcement to focus on deporting people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, and focus on the people who are actually a threat to our communities, rather than focusing on the people who are, have been here for 20 years, are, how working and just like trying to support their families and their communities.
Right. No, I can totally understand and appreciate that. I do want you to answer my first question, though. Do you think that present day, like, say you're president right now, are you going to secure the borders today?
Well, I think the way to quote unquote secure the border is the process that I just said myself. That's the process in which I would quote unquote secure the border.
Respectfully, I disagree because there's still going to be people from other countries that still want to come in
That's
after
great.
today.
That's great. I want people to immigrate
Oh,
here.
so you mean that anyone can come over, but see, I disagree there because
I never said
it's like you're
anyone. I
waiting
said
for
if they
them
have.
to
I
commit a
said any.
crime.
I said people who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, and it's up to a certain level. Like I'm okay with 1 to 3% population growth, right, per year. And it is the case that we see actually due to the Congressional Budget Office that they estimate we're going to have a reducing size of our population by 2050. So in the next 25 years.
Trust me, I am 1 trillion% for people coming into the country. I have zero issue with that. Never have. I think that's great for America. I think it's great that people love our country so much that they want to come here and work here and be a part of our community and contribute to America overall. However, I do think that there should be a process. And like you, this is where I think people start to argue because the process takes so long. Because the right siders will say, well, just do it legally and we don't care. And then the leftists say, do you know how long it takes? And people are trying to escape things like persecution, financial issues. They're seeking financial asylum, things like that. I totally agree that one of the first things that needs to be done in this country is that we need to expedite the process. We need to hire people. Because I actually was debating with someone earlier, and I told them that that's where the gray area comes in, and that there's so many people in America that need jobs. Why don't we make that a job? Hiring more people to make this process go quicker, so they're not waiting all
That's
this time.
exactly what the bipartisan border bill wanted to do, but Donald Trump called for people in Congress to undermine that bill. So
I'll
Donald Trump is
definitely
actively
have to look into that. Do you have a website you could refer me to for that?
Yeah. I mean, this was vastly reported on. I can give you a specific website if you'd like, but you could also find it just by looking up Donald Trump undermines bipartisan border bill. Damn, I keep getting this visibility restriction.
But I think, see, I don't, this is where I disagree. I don't think we should just let anyone come in. I understand what you're saying with if someone's never committed a crime, but I still think there should be a process because there's situations where people can slip through the cracks and maybe certain crimes that they've committed wouldn't be caught. It's like, how would you go about that? And I know you're going to say like a background check and everything like
Yeah,
that,
background
but
check would be the best way to ensure that they're on no different status as anyone else. But there's issues with finding out people have committed crimes if they're in the country and they're a citizen. So, and also undocumented immigrants are multiple times less likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, and property crime in the United States comparative to natural-born U.S. citizens. I mean, why would they be committing those types of crimes? Wouldn't they like not want to get caught?
no, I totally agree with that. I'm saying, do you agree that we should deport anyone that has come into this country and is not contributing, the first thing, and has committed a crime, like is a criminal?
If you've committed a violent crime or a crime that's so bad that someone should be
Violent crime.
deported. No, this
Yes.
like
No.
not just
See,
any
I
crime.
agree with
Like
that. I'm not talking about like
yeah, like just
parking
coming to the
tickets.
country. Coming to the country is a misdemeanor, undocumented. I don't think that's a crime that's so bad insofar as that someone should be deported. But yes, if someone has committed a violent crime or has committed a crime that's so bad that they should be deported, of course, I have no issue with them being deported on the condition that they'll be put in a prison in another country because we don't want them, free in another country either committing crime.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think the middle ground would kind of be like, for me, well,
But that sounds like more of like a
I
Democratic
can.
position. Democrats want to deport people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, and they just want the legal immigration process to go significantly quicker. Donald Trump's trying
Are
to
you
undermine the legal immigration process, right? Alongside, he's specifically trying to engage in the use of less due process.
are you familiar with Nick Shirley?
Yes.
Have you ever watched any of his like YouTube live streams?
No, never. I've only just seen the name because I've seen some of his dumbass TikToks.
I just, from what I've seen on his side of things, because I'm not the type of person, just because I side more with the right doesn't mean that I can't agree with some left wing things, right? So in some of these videos, these people are saying, no, let everyone stay. And these are obviously Democrats at these No Kings protests.
So here's what he's doing.
So
He's
I
going.
wouldn't say that every Democrat is saying, oh, we all want the criminals out, because they're not.
Yeah, most Democrats are saying that they want violent criminals out of the country. Now he's specifically trying to find people that say otherwise, and he's specifically picking those clips to post.
I think everybody
Like
does
you can
that. Do
say
you
that's
not?
true that some people have those positions, but you can't say it's true that most people have those positions
Why are you able to say that then?
because
Because
I
you would have, in
one I've
order for
looked
that to
one I've
be
looked
true,
at the
you would have to
polls.
talk to every single
One, I've
one of
looked at the
them.
polls. Two, I'm very familiar with my own party and especially what other creators view in the space. Right? No one
Mhm.
has this view that like violent criminals shouldn't be deported. Practically no one I've ever talked to. I think that's a very fringe perspective to say that violent criminals shouldn't be deported. And
Mhm.
I would put pushback on that issue on that a lot because obviously we don't want violent criminals running rampant in our country. If we knew that someone was held civilly liable of a sexual crime, or if they were convicted of a sexual crime, like they sexually assaulted someone, obviously we don't want them in our country. Obviously we'd want them in
Right, right.
prison.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Why don't you believe that we should have a process for the border for people to come over, like I said earlier, like present day, your president right now? Why don't you think that we should have laws and a process for people to come
I do
in?
think we should have laws and a process. I just want to incentivize people to go through the said legal process by making it quicker and actually make
So
sense.
you think we should have a border and like
Yeah,
there
yeah,
should be
yeah.
ICE?
Wait, ICE is not necessary to have like border enforcement. ICE is on top of the border enforcement we already had.
Okay. But they also work to remove the people that come over illegally.
They could try to do that, but I mean, I think that oftentimes one, they're unnecessary, and two, we're putting too much money specifically into that rather than putting it into like actually like making the legal immigration process go quicker, which would incentivize people not to go through the process and document it, and instead go through the process legally.
So who is going to do the job of removing these people?
You mean we already have border patrol?
I'm talking about those people specifically work the border, correct?
Yeah, that would be people who work the border.
So what about the
I would
people
be
that
I
have
would be
brought
fine.
in?
I'd be fine with a group, not ICE, but a group specifically designated by the federal government, specifically to deport people who have committed violent
That
crimes
is
and
ICE.
bad crimes. But that is not what I think ICE is fulfilling right now. I think ICE oftentimes like wears masks, doesn't utilize warrants, is violating people's constitutional rights. They're essentially acting as a
Can
as
you
they're
can I
essentially acting
interrupt
as
you
a
real
secret
quick?
police force for the federal government and the executive branch rather than actually enforcing the immigration laws in terms of violent offenders.
So let me ask you your personal opinion on this. And don't be afraid at your chat coming at you.
I'm not.
If you feared for your life and your children's lives, that just for your political opinion, or not even your political opinion, because I don't think that every single ICE agent Believe it or not, I don't think that every single one on this planet, every single one in America, rather, is Republican. I don't think that. I think some people, maybe they don't want to do it and it's their job. And they're scared that these people, Antifa particularly, are going to come after their family. I don't understand why that's funny.
What does Antifa mean? Antifa just is anyone who's anti-fascist.
Anti-fascist.
Yeah, yeah. That are you anti-fascist?
I think Antifa
Are you
is
Antifa?
fascist, if anything.
Are you Antifa?
I'm definitely Antifa, but I'm talking about the
Okay.
organization in particular.
There is no organization of Antifa.
Okay, the group of Antifa
There
activists.
is no group. It's literally
There
just an
is.
ideology.
Yes, and they form groups. Do they
What?
not?
That's like saying, okay, so technically anyone who's an anti-fascist, right, being in a group would technically be Antifa then.
Would you say
So
that MAGA is a group?
MAGA is a group. Would you
So
say that
I
they're
would say
Antifa? Would
Antifa
you
is a
say
group.
MAGA is Antifa?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so then
I'm definitely Antifa.
so
I'm
so if MAGA is
I'm just
Antifa, wait, no,
not.
hold up. If MAGA is Antifa, then are they a designated terrorist group by the United States of America under the Trump administration?
But we both know what I'm talking about here. I understand that
Well, yeah,
you're
you
saying
said
it's an
any group that
ideology.
is
I'm talking about
Antifa.
the people that are going and they're attacking ICE. They're throwing rocks at them. They're breaking
So just
shit.
people who are
I mean,
attacking
stuff throughout
ICE.
the community.
So people who are so I don't know why we're
Parker, you
branding
know
this as
what I'm
just
talking. You know
no
what and who
no
I'm
no no
talking
no
about.
no. I think it's dishonest to try to brand that as Antifa, right? Because anyone who's anti-fascist should not be associated with that. If you want to talk about specifically people who like have particular ideological beliefs that are enacting violence, you can talk about that. But don't brand that as just people who are like a part of a group that just means
That's what they've
anti-fascist.
called themselves, though, have they
No,
not?
who?
These groups. You cannot tell
What
me you
groups?
haven't
What
seen these
groups?
groups of people that congregate and they call themselves Antifa.
Wait, that's like me joking and saying I'm a part of Antifa on the live. I'm sorry, no group exists like about that. I've never seen this before. Genuinely, what group are you talking about?
As much as it may pain you, go watch one
Should
of
we
Nick
form the?
Shirley's lives.
You know what? I'm totally down to form the group of Antifa. Let's do it.
Listen, I
Like,
am
would you join?
I'm completely anti-fascist, but I think some of the things that they do are very
my group
fascist,
of
like
Antifa
restricting my
is
First Amendment
my
right
group
of
of
freedom of
Antifa.
speech.
My group of Antifa. If you'd like to join it, do you think that they should be designated as domestic terrorists?
You know what I'm talking about. You can't play the dumb card with me, Parker.
Okay, I think it's dishonest for you to act like if I don't believe the same thing as you, that I'm being dishonest. I think that's really, really fucking like dishonest, genuinely.
I think it's really dishonest that you are pretending that you don't know that there's these group of people, far wing leftists, that label themselves as Antifa.
I label myself as Antifa.
But I'm not talking about the term in and of itself. I'm not just talking about anti-fascist.
I don't know what group there is. Like, I have never seen this group that you're
Look
talking
them
about.
up. Look them up.
I have. Trust me. I have looked this up.
Well, I wouldn't just make this up, believe it or not. I have seen this in a bunch, not even just Nick Shirley. Their 1,000,000,000% is a group of people that go to these No Kings protests. They cover their face and they pretty much every single part of their body. I don't want to divert
The No
from
Kings
this.
protest was like literally completely peaceful.
I'm totally for peaceful protest. I'm talking about the people that are attacking federal agents and throwing rocks and looting stores and burning stuff.
Okay, so yeah, we obviously disagree with that. No one's saying that they agree with that. Like, okay, so I'm confused. Can you name one Democratic congressperson that has agreed with rioting and looting?
No, I don't think anyone would agree with that.
Can you name a single person? Can you name a single Democratic like
I just told you I couldn't.
Name a single Democratic content creator that has condoned the rioting and looting.
I don't follow these people on TikTok. They're not someone
or any
social media
Now,
platform.
I can give you on your side the President of the United States of America pardoned violent rioters on January 6th who beat police officers, and he called them patriots. Okay,
I
so
don't agree
if
that
you
people
can't
that
mention,
riot.
let me clarify. You can't mention a single person on the left that meets the set of criteria, but we can give you explicit
I
circumstances
don't know their
of
names,
people at the
Parker.
very top of the right, the president of the United States of America, supporting and
Did I
condoning
say I agreed
violence.
with everything he said? When I first came onto this live, what did I tell you? I said I don't support everything Donald Trump has done.
No, but I think it's dishonest for people to try and claim that there's this group of Antifa that should be considered domestic terrorists. When one, it's not a group; it's just an ideology, right? And thirdly, right, they never apply this to their own side. They never apply this to Maga. All
What
the
would you
people that
call
are
them
sitting
then?
there and defending the violence on January 6th.
Okay, back to what I was saying. I don't condone looting,
Why don't we
breaking stuff,
designate the
acting like a
KKK as a
crazy
domestic
animal.
terrorist organization?
Repeat that.
Why don't we designate the KKK as a domestic terrorist organization, the Proud Boys as a domestic
I'm
terrorist
totally for it.
organization?
Totally for it.
Okay, so why doesn't the Trump administration do that? Why does he designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization when there's not even a group, but he's not designating any of those other organizations that are literally
What is a
terrorist
group,
groups?
Parker? What's a group in your definition?
A group would just be a few people or like a
Okay,
catalog
well
of
then
people.
you have to if that's true, then these few people, but it's not a few, it's thousands upon thousands of people
Yeah, that's why I said a
that are
catalog of
doing
people.
this. Yes, correct. That's what they're doing though. You don't think that should be labeled as domestic terrorism? I'm not saying it's right that he hasn't labeled
No.
anyone else.
Antifa should not be designated as a terrorist organization. One, because it's not an organization, and two, it's
So
just
what
an
do we call
ideology.
these people then? What would you like to call them?
You could just say that, like, specifically if someone's rioting, you say that they're rioters. They're not an organized group. You just say that they're rioters.
So,
Appreciate
but
that message.
I'm saying that this is what they're calling themselves, and it's a slippery slope because that's a term that everybody should be anti-fascist. Hello, no, nobody wants fascism. I mean, I don't know anybody personally that does.
I mean, a lot of Trump supporters have defended it.
I don't defend fascism in any
Well,
form.
you vote for it.
I vote for it because I think abortion is murder and
Okay,
it's disgusting.
so because you think abortion is murder, that means you'd vote for fascism?
I don't think that necessarily that Donald Trump is committing fascism. Where is he committing fascism?
Well, we can go through the 14 points of fascism if you'd like. Would you like to do that?
I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, so for the first one is powerful and continuing nationalism. By the way, I just want to clarify. If he meets one of these, that doesn't necessarily mean he is a fascist. It's that he fits most of them that would make him a fascist. So I just want to clarify. You could meet one of these and not be a fascist. Like, for example, this first one I think is applicable to a lot of people. Or and in the United States already in general. Number one is powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and public displays. Number two is a disdain for the recognition of human rights. The reason why I say this is because, one, he's engaged in extrajudicial, without due process murdering of people on fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela with absolutely no due process, which is an international war crime with not,
So
not
this is
within our
where
jurisdiction.
I hate to do this and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is where I have to interrupt you because I've heard a lot in those lives. Here I go again with the Nick Shirley lives. But I've heard a lot of people talking about the due process. Could you explain to me, from your perspective, what is happening and why it's wrong with these people not getting due process? Because in my opinion, you should be an American citizen to get due process. You know what I mean? Because that's under America's amendments.
Yeah, in the Constitution, it says everyone within the jurisdiction of the country is granted due process rights. So if you care about the Constitution ingrains it as a right for everyone within the country, not just people who are citizens. Do you think lawful permanent residents should receive due process?
Yes.
Okay. So that's an example, one. Secondly, as it relates
But
to
I
this, if
mean,
you want, if you,
I'll
secondly,
even go
second,
a step further. If that's what it says in the Constitution, that everyone in the jurisdiction of America is supposed to receive due process,
yes,
and that's what it meant, is just bodies in America, and we're not taking it out of context. If that's what it really says, and that's what it means, then I agree that they should get due process.
okay,
That's our
so
Constitution.
that's what the Constitution says. One, two, as it relates to this, I do also want to acknowledge that in order for us to be able to determine that they're in the country undocumented, we would have to utilize due process to do so. Because when they specifically commit a crime, the way that we determine that they've committed that crime is through due process. Otherwise, you could just claim anyone's in the country undocumented, and you could just deport whoever you feel like. I could claim all my political dissidents are in the country undocumented, and I could deport all of them. That's ridiculous, right? So obviously, we have to utilize the process, due process, in order to ensure that we are deporting the correct people, right?
Well, is them answer me this and what your stance is on this. If is them not being able to provide themselves documentation, is that criminating enough? Or is that not,
Repeat what you
in
just
your
said.
opinion? If they do not have their papers, their documentation with them, and they cannot provide it, is that not criminalizing? I don't know if that's a word enough.
No, no. I mean, if they don't have identifying papers, that wouldn't. We would just have to go through extra processes of vetting in order to be able to identify that.
Okay.
So like that wouldn't be like something I would deport someone over. They would just go through a further process to identify who they are.
And to make sure whether they came here legally or not.
Well, I mean, again, whether or not you came here legally is not an issue to me.
No,
It's like
I'm just
like would we, if they're going through the legal process, restrict them from coming to the country? Because the goal of our immigration process is to ensure the safety, security of the country, the economic stability of our country, things like that. You know, the country as a whole is doing well, right? So like
yeah.
if it is the case that they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, they're not a threat to our country. There's no reason for us to restrict them. If anything, they're actually a real huge benefit to our country because we need a lot of more younger people who are funding our systems to be able to ensure that we have the same level of benefits for Social Security and Medicare in the long run. Otherwise, those particular types of programs are going to not have as much funding, and we're going to have to reduce benefits, which we don't want to
So
do. We want to be
with
able to
that,
maintain them.
I agree. With that perspective, of what you just said, what would be your comment on someone like terrorist organizations from other countries that they've never committed a crime in their country, but maybe they are being fed propaganda their whole life to hate America, and they've never committed a crime in their country, but then they come over with something crazy to unalive us?
If someone has a plan to unalive people, I wouldn't want them in the country either.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but you said that we should just let everyone in until they've committed a crime or if they have already committed one.
Yeah, how would you identify that they shouldn't be allowed in the country if it is the case that they haven't done something like that? Someone right now would be able to go on a plane and do that. I'm confused. How would the immigration
How would you get
process be
onto
any different?
I'm saying that that's why it shouldn't be free reign. We should
I'm sorry.
look into things
Do you
further.
think do you think that people should be able to fly to our country from other countries?
I get your standpoint on that. I get it.
So like, what's the difference in the process that they're able to fly to our country and they're able to immigrate here? That would at all change their ability to do
Isn't
this?
But isn't there a process with if you're just flying here, you're just visiting, you're not staying? I don't know how
Well, if you
long
can
someone
stay
can
within a
fly
certain
here
amount of
for.
time, but if they're going to harm people, they would be able to
hmm
stay long enough to harm people. I'm confused what your point is.
No, I get it. I get that too.
And also, if
But
they're
that's
gonna
why I like
violate
to
the
have
crime,
these
wait,
discussions.
if they're
Like,
gonna violate the law in that way, why wouldn't they just overstay the time that they could specifically stay here? They could just fly here and overstay. So
you make
I
a
don't,
very good point. But
because if
I'm not the type of person that's not going to admit if you make a good point. You know what I mean? And this is why I think that these conversations are essential and that more people need to have them respectfully rather than looking at me and saying, "Oh, you're right wing, you are racist, you're sexist, you're this, you're that," because
well, look, let me clarify here.
none
You
of
are willing
that's
to
true.
vote for a racist over a non-racist. You are willing to vote for a sexist over a non-sexist. Those are points as to why people have reasons to think that about you. Like they're saying that you, objectively speaking, voted for that over voting for someone that did not exhibit those characteristics. Now, I mean, I would love to
Okay,
continue
so
with the 14 points of fascism if we could do that real quick. I do have a few people to thank though in the meantime, real quick.
go ahead.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Madison, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you so much on V. I really appreciate it. I know I can't say like apparently I can't say the different things people can support me through in the context of my bio. But I'll just refer to them as VC and P. I think everyone knows what I'm referencing. But thank you so much, Madison. I really appreciate it too. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Jennifer with the 50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I always will though. Thank you so much. Put some W's for Jennifer in the comment section right now. Laura, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Jamie with the 20. I really appreciate it. Some W's for Jamie in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Charissa, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yes, I did see that people were saying that Dean stopped doing that. So I'm definitely trying to do that right now. As well as Shannon with the 100. Can we get some W's for Shannon in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. W's for Shannon in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Get some W's. Thank you so much for the 100. I really appreciate it. It's so kind of you. Thank you. Ryan with a 10. Susan, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Bree, thank you for the $3. I really appreciate it. Kaylee, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Sorry, I'm going to have to get used to this, everybody. Bridget with the 50. Can we get some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now? Thank you so much, Bridget. I really appreciate it. Get some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. As well as Tamara, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the 20. Carolina, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. As well as let me catch up on YouTube real quick, and then we're going to go into the 14 points of fascism. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. If you want to support me as always, VCP is in the link tree in the bio. Eugenia, thank you so much for the 15. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Don't worry about that. That does not matter to me at all. Thank you so much. Ray, thank you for the 10 or for the $2. Thank you. Ryan, thank you so much for the $4. Thank you. Sorry, I keep doing that, everyone. Kathleen, thank you so much for the 10. Karen, thank you for the 1. Felonius, thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate it. Victoria, thank you so much for the 50. Can we have some W's for Victoria in the comment section? Thank you for joining in from Dean's. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Jennifer, thank you for the 10. Rachel, thank you so much for the 2. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Carolina, thank you so much for the 5. Ducky with the 5. Or Carolina with the 10, I mean. Kathleen with the 10 as well. Thank you. Green Scare, thank you for the 5. BS, thank you so much for the 10. Owen with the 10. Carolina, thank you so much for the 5 twice. Thank you so much. As well as Jay with the 50. Thank you so much on V. I really appreciate some W's for Jay in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to get used to that, everybody. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. That's so kind of you. Thank you very much. Susie, thank you for the 10. I really appreciate it. And Tom, thank you so much for the 10 as well. Thank you. Yes, that's obviously that's definitely relevant to it. For sure. For sure. I do think the 14 points makes it a little bit more clear because I think that terminology might make it a little bit hard to understand, but I do think it's important. But yeah, so Tay, I do have a few things. For the disdain for the recognition of human rights, the point that I was making was that he is violating human rights because he's approving of things like executions, especially without evidence, right? And it's that you can, it's essentially that people are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in these set of circumstances because of quote unquote like need or national security, but like these aren't necessary for national security. Like the people that were like, say they did have DRUGS on those boats, which there was no evidence that there was, the best way to address that would be to detain them once they get to U.S. waters, right? That's what we did under every other administration. The idea that we are extrajudicially murdering them is unhinged.
Yes. No, I agree. And like I said, especially with my stance on abortion, I think murder is wrong. You don't take someone's life. That's not your say to take someone else's life. That's why I said I don't align and support with everything single thing he says. I'm not just an empty freaking capsule taking in every bit of information that he spouts.
Okay, so
I do want to say
clarify.
this: if those drugs come into America, and I'm not condoning what unaliving, okay, in any way, shape, or form, ever. But I'm saying that it's also very wrong that those people were bringing, you know what, into could kill hundreds of Americans.
Wait, again, there was no evidence that there were DRUGS on the boat. Absolutely none. Let alone what DRUGS it was. There are plenty of DRUGS that specifically are not lethal, like in that connotation. So the
Mhm.
idea that that would specifically be reason to extrajudicially murder them would obviously be ridiculous. I don't think that you're arguing that. But also, again, we would just detain
Mhm.
them. You would still be able to
Yeah, no, I agree
prevent
they
that
should
from
have
happening
been
by
detained.
detaining them.
We're totally on the same page with that.
Okay, so at least we agree. It seems like the both first two have been met so far: powerful and continuing nationalism, and the disdain for the recognition of human rights.
Hmm.
Okay, number three: identification of enemies slash scapegoats as a unifying cause. So this is like him specifically saying that like liberals, communists, socialists, and quote unquote terrorists, right,
To
are
unite other
perceived as a
people.
common threat. Um,
Hmm.
uh, he also does this with immigrants and trans people and plenty of other communities as well. But I think that this one's very obvious as well. He does this.
I think both sides do that.
You could say that.
Do you agree?
But yeah, but it wouldn't be a specific racial, ethnic, or religious minority: liberals, communists, socialists, and terrorists, right? It would be like, for example, rich people, right? Identify which rich people aren't technically the enemies. Technically, people look at rich people that they need to pay more. That's not necessarily
Right.
identifying an enemy, and that's not necessarily scapegoating them. That's acknowledging like income inequality that exists within our country. So if
Hmm.
acknowledging like an issue within our country as a unifying cause for people to get together, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's an element, at least here, with the context of it being a racial, ethnic, or religious minority, liberals, communists, so terrorists, etc. So that's the specific. And
Argue like saying it's for the country. I don't recall anyone saying like, "Oh, let's make America great" or anything like that. But I definitely think they have the same idea, and that's how to make America great is by getting rid of the right. But this is the problem. I think we're everyone's so against each other. We need to find middle ground in all of these areas, and a lot of these topics that are so, this is why people are so passionate, because they're looking at it one way. They see Republican or Democrat, and automatically they think that just because of that label that you identify and I agree with every single thing that's so far right or so far left, which just isn't the truth.
that's not what I'm saying you are agreeing with, but the point I'm trying to
No,
establish for you is that like because of this idea of wanting to constantly find middle ground amongst two positions, regardless of whether or not those positions are bad or good, right, is actually
mm-hmm.
one of the issues I think exists here because it's an aspect that normalizes the particular views that Trump has. It's treating Donald Trump's views as if they should be the same or treated the same as everyone else's view, which when it's an extreme perspective, and it's obviously a
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous perspective, to treat it the same and to say it as if you want to find middle ground between those two positions is obviously going to lead to an extreme outcome. Because then that gives me an incentive to be, the most possible extreme, because then there's going to find a point of the middle that is between us. So if I just be as extreme as I
Right.
possibly can be, well, then it's going to find something more of what I would actually want, right? Which
But you
kind
could
of doesn't
also argue
create,
that
it
for
creates
Hillary
actually,
Clinton, right?
it creates conditions for more divisiveness, not more middle ground. And then I also want to continue. Number four, this one's applicable to most people in the U.S. Supremacy of the military. It's essentially that you want a disproportionate amount of funding going to the military. That's self-explanatory. That one's obvious. Some of these are going to be different. The first ones are typically applicable to more people, like the number one and number four are typically applicable to like most people. Number five, though, rampant sexism. I don't think I need to explain this one. Do you agree with me that Donald Trump is sexist?
What would you say, and nobody come for me, what is your example? Give me your reasons of why he's sexist and
Yeah,
everything.
for sure. He bragged about walking to the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. And an 18-year-old came
Mm-hmm.
out, said there were four girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms when Donald Trump would barge in. He said he grabbed women by the
Mm-hmm.
vagina without asking. He said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He called his daughter voluptuous, said that she's always been voluptuous, which means curvy and sexually attractive. Said he'd be dating his own daughter if it wasn't his daughter. Said he had sex in common with his daughter, and said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. Those are just a few examples.
Yeah, I don't agree with those statements.
Okay, but do you think that he's sexist?
I'd to be honest with you, I don't have to look more into those statements and see what the context of it was. I know that Don't laugh. You know
What? No, I'm
easily,
sorry.
Parker.
What
You and I
context?
both know that certain
N-
things can be
nothing.
taken out of context.
Nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
saying,
I
okay,
would
for
give you the
example, when you
context.
said the thing
Hey,
about his daughter,
I'm
maybe he
genuine.
was
I'm
saying how
genuine though.
beautiful his daughter is,
Oh my God. What is
and
voluptuous means curvy and sexually attractive. So I'm sorry.
you
Like,
know how people don't look at exact definitions for everything, though. Like they don't look at
so what
a
did he
word
mean
they're
by
using.
voluptuous? What did he mean?
That's what I'm telling you. I have to look into.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that that's probably what he meant. He also said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. Right. So can you
He
explain that one away?
repeat that.
He
I
said
didn't
yeah
hear
to
it.
Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass.
He yelled at him,
He said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass.
and he in agreement.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not right. But I think anyone
Is that
with
sexist?
a brain in their head would agree that that's sexist and wrong.
Okay, well then, yeah, I totally agree. That's sexist and wrong. So we agree Trump is sexist. So number 5 of rampant sexism. That's definitely very true. Okay. Um, Number 6. This is one where we might have a little bit of disagreement, but I think I have a pretty strong argument for this. Is that he's advocating for controlled mass media. Right? This is number 6. So, and we could have disagreement on this one. That could be fair, and I could move on to the other ones. He doesn't have to hit every single one to be a fascist. But the point that I would make with this one is that he said that other media organizations should be illegal. He said that if he could make TikTok 100% MAGA, he would. Those are explicitly going to be views of his in which suppress the alternative side.
Hmm.
So do you agree with that one being applicable, or would you still disagree?
It's something else I'd have to look into. And this is why I'm saying that. This is why I keep repeating that. Do you remember the whole how do I put this to where I can say it to where we won't get flagged? The instance where he was quote unquote mocking the camera guy that took his picture.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was a camera guy and he was coming up to him and he was intellectually disabled.
Oh,
And
so him making fun of a mentally disabled reporter?
yes, but I've also seen it. Have you ever, people are going to come for me. Oh, well. Have you ever tried to show someone what someone else did, like played out their actions? So that's up for speculation. Was he making fun of him or was he just
Oh, he
imitating
totally
what
was.
this
I'm
guy
sorry.
did?
I've seen that clip. That he obviously was.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I can move on from this. Let's keep going. Number
Smooth brain.
7. Number 7 is obsession with national security. This one's obvious. Number 8, religion and government are intertwined. Now listen to this one. This one could be a little bit
Wait,
confusing.
go back to number 7.
Obsession with national security. I don't think that one's
Don't
disputable.
you don't you think that the president should be like not obsessed? I wouldn't
Yeah,
say he's obsessed. I think he
obsession
cares
goes far.
deeply.
Obsession goes far. So they should care
So where
deeply
has
about
he
national
obsessed?
security, but he's obsessed. Where is he obsessed? I mean, the wall,
I think we
right?
should have a
Sending
wall.
the National Guard into states that in which governors do not want them there.
Yeah. If
So
someone in your
that's his
if you
argument.
have people if you have people
let me
acting like
describe it.
terrorists,
Under it says fear is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. So that's something that he oftentimes will acknowledge as well, like the Department of War.
I think as crazy as this sounds, America needs some fear because you need to know
Okay,
that you
okay. So
cannot go
you can say that's
burning
a
and looting
you can say
stuff.
that's under your view that's a justified point of fascism, but then I'm arguing that like let me get through the rest of it. That's obviously
Go
still
ahead.
applicable to Trump. The next one is number 8. Religion and government is intertwined. Now let me give you the explanation. This will be a lot more clear to you. Governments in fascist nations tend to utilize the most common religion in the nation
I agree
as
that
a
he does that.
tool to manipulate public opinion. That one's clear
Yeah,
that Donald Trump
you
does
don't
that.
even need to explain that one. I agree with that.
Okay. Number 9. This one's obvious. Corporate power protected. It says the industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. He's clearly done this. This one is very obvious.
Like favoring the elite in America.
Yeah. Like he's specifically like inviting them to the White House to like have dinners and be in front of the media and to talk about how much they're quote unquote investing into this country. So I mean that's literally like what he's been
But
doing.
has he not also supported people in financial
I
need?
did
I
not
would
see.
say he's supported an abundance of people.
Well, we can talk about that in a second. But
Go ahead.
do you agree with that corporate power is protected under this description?
Not necessarily.
Really? So what do you disagree with?
Hasn't he had people with set quote unquote power that he's fired and got rid of? Those people also had power, did they not?
But he's still trying to create mutually beneficial relationships with elite, right? So just
I
because
think all presidents have
just
done
because they had a
that.
falling out with Elon doesn't mean that he's not trying to do that.
I wasn't even referencing to that, but I'm saying that every president in U.S. history has done that.
Well, you could say that, but again, just because a point specifically is applicable to someone doesn't mean that they're a fascist. So again,
Right, right.
it's not
I'll
one
let
of
you
these points.
finish.
It's all of these points. Yeah. Number 10, labor power is suppressed. This one I'll have to clarify a little bit. It's essentially the idea that like they try to minimize labor unions. Now you could try to disagree with this one. I think this one is clearly applicable because he has bragged with Elon Musk about literally like stifling and destroying labor unions. But we can
Hmm.
move on from this one if you don't agree with it.
I don't have any comment because I'm not educated enough and I don't like to speak on things that I just don't have any clue about.
Sure. Number 11, disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education and academia. So, like, that's quite literally going to be something that Donald Trump has done. Not only has he defunded cancer research and defunded different like universities, but he specifically also supported and tolerated open hostility against those like higher education. Right, one because he was specifically arguing that like they're like trying to indoctrinate our youth. Right, that's literally like the conservative argument that they're trying to indoctrinate our youth and that it's liberal, like associated with, right, and that like specifically like him going after like for example like the common ideas to be true in the context of the media or not in the media in the context of science, right, whether it be climate change, him denying this the scientific consensus on climate change, right, him denying the science on Tylenol, right, because Tylenol usage during pregnancy does not cause autism. There's a Swedish study that indicates that that's not true after taking into account siblings and genetics, which he did not take into account. So those are obviously him going after the intellectuals and the arts.
Yeah. No matter who the president was, I wouldn't take any medical advice from them respectfully.
Okay, but I mean that clearly shows a disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. Number 12 is obsession with crime and punishment. I mean he constantly says law and order, so I think that one's self-explanatory. And then like also like sending the National Guard into like areas around the United States. That's his obsession. Do you agree?
I think the National Guard is very necessary in these places that are committing violent crimes. And I don't think that we should permit it. Because if not National Guard, who's going to stop them? At some of these occurrences, the police are standing by because there's not enough of them. These people
I
were
have an
literally
argument.
overtaken.
I have an argument against that, but it sounds like that one's applicable to Trump. It sounds like you agree with that. I'll move on. Number
I
13
don't
is
agree that he's obsessed, but go ahead.
why not sending the National Guard
Because I
just
wouldn't call that obsession just because you are utilizing the National Guard to stop violence. That's not obsession to me. That's common sense.
no, it's obsession with him to specifically be sending it to like blue states, right, and for him to constantly talk about it all the time. Like that's
But
literally
that's
his.
where the violence is
When I
happening.
say obsessed, like what do you mean by obsessed?
When I think of obsession, I think of someone who's sitting there like, oh, what are ways we can do this and blah, 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 blah. Not as in a presidential way to how can we make this country better. Do you not agree? So
No,
what should we do
obsessed
for
means that they're
those
constantly
places?
addressing this. This is like something that they're really, really focused on, right? To an extreme extent,
Have
right?
you
And Trump is focused on it to an extreme extent.
I'm really, really focused on a lot of things in life. I wouldn't say that I'm
Okay,
necessarily obsessed with them.
we'll move on, right? I think that this is clearly him being obsessed, but we'll move on.
I don't
Rampant
agree.
cronyism and corruption. I mean, he literally dropped a meme coin where foreign governments can buy it without us knowing who they are, which can increase the valuation of his net worth. So that's clearly cronyism and corruption. I'm going to keep moving on because
I
there's no dispute of that.
You'll
Number
have to
four,
explain that one to me because I don't even know what that is, to be honest with
he
you.
dropped a meme coin, like a cryptocurrency, a Trump coin, and foreign governments around the world can buy it and increase the valuation of it, which would give money to Trump without us knowing who they are, which is essentially a
Hmm.
mechanism that he could use for bribery. So that's essentially what I'm arguing. Um,
Huh. Okay.
and then number 14 is fraudulent elections. This one's literally self-explanatory. Trump has been claiming the 2020 election has been rigged with absolutely no evidence for years at this point. So, yeah, those are the 14 points of fascism. Trump hits basically every single one. Even just the ones you disagreed with, you disagreed probably with like 3 or 4 of them max. That's still him hitting most of them.
Didn't you say that a lot of people agree with a certain amount of these,
Yeah,
though?
a few of them are going to be
What
applicable to
would you
people,
say?
but
What would you say
that
that the
many,
normal, like, individual, let's say, an independent, how many would you say they agree with on there?
maybe 3.
3? And how many do you think Trump agrees with? Because especially the one, I
All
don't think he
14.
has an obsession with the military.
I think he meets all 14.
So, what do you, especially on that point, because this is one I can argue, what do you think we should do in the places that these people are committing violent crimes and it is a crazy amount of people? Portland, Oregon, for example.
Oh, let me address this. So I think that if he actually wanted to address crime, he would not be sending the National Guard to areas that in which have blue governors, because that is a what's it called? That is a that it's a constitutional issue, because essentially you can't send in the National Guard if the governor doesn't consent to it. So why doesn't he send the National Guard to red states with red governors that have higher rates of murder? If you look at Portland, if you look at all these different cities he's sending people to, there are red states that have cities with inside of them that have higher rates of murder. Like, for example, why don't we look at the murder rate in Louisiana specifically, right, which is led by a Republican governor? He can
Hmm.
send the National Guard there. Or what about Texas? Texas has a higher murder rate than California. He should be sending it
I
to
think it's
Texas
because
rather than
how
sending
are
it to
they going to
California.
catch these people? I think the issue here is these people, they're going to these rallies on a daily basis. They know they're going to be there and they know what's happening, and it's violence. And it's not
I'm
all,
sorry, that's
it's, I'm
ridiculous.
not
The
saying
obviously the police department can handle it. Now, please, like let's
they
get a
can't.
yes, they can. That's why
They,
the
well,
gov.
they won't, is what
So
I should
so
say.
you can sit there and you can say that all you want, but why doesn't Trump send the
There's
National
proof.
Guard to states in the United States that are red states where there's no constitutional issue with sending the National Guard there, that have higher murder rates than any of the places that he sent troops to?
Because they would have to do a whole investigation. They're going to have to somehow
What?
find who's doing the murdering.
They what?
What do
What do
you
you mean they
mean?
have to do a whole investigation? What do you? I'm confused. Why
Are,
aren't they?
are,
No,
are you going to have people just walk
listen
out
to
into
my
the
question
street?
one more time, okay? I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Why
Okay,
send the
let's be
National Guard?
respectful first.
I'm being respectful.
As
I'm just
someone
trying to
that's not a sexist, right?
what?
You're not a sexist, but you're going to scream your questions at me. Ask them like a normal human being.
Was I screaming at you?
You keep rolling your eyes, Parker, and laughing at my questions.
How
I'm
is
trying to
rolling
find
my
common
eyes
ground with you.
screaming at you?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what you've been doing the entire live.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking and you were interrupting me, and you're saying that I was yelling at you when I wasn't yelling
You
at
have
you. This
also
is literally
interrupted me.
recorded.
Okay, ask your question because we're diverting from the subject.
Okay, so then the point I'm referencing is that the National Guard, right? If you don't want an issue with specifically sending the National Guard into places, send it to a area in which is a red state where there's no issue from a constitutional basis with sending the National Guard there. There are places around the United States where there are red states with cities inside of them that have higher murder rates than all the cities that he's already tried to send the National Guard to. So all of these types of quote-unquote protests that are leading to violence wouldn't happen to the same extent if you weren't sending the National Guard into blue states. Okay? Send it into red states. Why? What is the reason why you don't want to send it into red states? To then show the rest of the
I'm
country
not.
that it's going to be
I
an
didn't say
effective
that.
mechanism to address
When did
crime.
I say I was against that?
Well, I'm asking why is Trump doing that essentially?
I'm saying that these. It's kind of like these people are already. We know where they're at. We know where to find them. They're going to be at the same place every day. And there is a multitude of them. That is why it's National Guard level. Is there
Repeat
not
that, sorry.
murder everywhere in the US?
Well, no, I agree that there's murder, but like I'm saying, like one, there's a constitutional issue with sending them to democratically run states. So I'm asking, why are you sending them to democratically run states rather than Republican run states? Because there wouldn't be a constitutional issue with sending them to Republican run states.
Because I don't think that these freaking protests where people are rioting and breaking stuff. Let me ask you this. Are you against the National Guard going in and taking care of these people that are destroying property, hitting federal agents, and making
They
death
wouldn't be hitting
threats?
federal agents if you weren't sending federal agents there. So one, it would be
What?
genuinely like if they wouldn't be hitting federal agents if federal
So
agents weren't there to hit.
so
Okay,
that's
that's one.
justified?
Two is it?
That's
No,
justified to hit them?
no, I'm not saying that's a justification. I'm just acknowledging the
Oh,
reality, right? I think
you
it's.
said okay, well if they didn't go there, they're trying
Can
to
I please
protect the
can I please speak
community.
without you cutting me off? That would be fantastic.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Parker, because you're about to piss me off.
Why? Because I want to speak. I don't want to
Because
be cut
you've been
off.
speaking. I just let you ramble on 14 freaking different things. Go
Ramble? What do
ahead.
you mean? You've been the one talking for most of this time. I barely spoke.
I disagree. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you can watch back this conversation on YouTube later, and the entire conversation comment section will be disagreeing with you there. Now,
Yeah, because they're leftists.
no, what do you? I'm not a leftist. Well, I'm a liberal.
Okay, liberal leftists. Close enough.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just saying because it's technically a distinction, but seemingly conservatives don't understand the distinction. But again, in terms of the National Guard, essentially the point I'm making is
That's
again,
not disrespectful to you.
what's
How
not
do you
disrespect.
expect to have a conversation by throwing backhanded remarks at me and rolling your eyes?
What backhanded remark?
Apparently, conservatives don't understand the difference. I didn't say they were the exact same. Did I ever say that? I said close enough because
Yeah,
they align in a lot of ways. Correct?
yeah.
Yes.
So not necessarily like the just because people align in a certain amount of ways doesn't mean that they are the same or that you could refer to them utilizing the same word. That doesn't really make any sense. But sure, I'm okay with you saying that. I was just clarifying. Okay. Now, in terms of the National Guard, to go back to that, right, on what we were talking about, the National Guard being sent to areas in which have Republican-run states, right, there wouldn't be a constitutional issue there. Okay, so Trump should be sending them there so he could show the rest of the country that it's going to be an effective mechanism for addressing crime. Otherwise, what he's actually doing is not trying to address crime. What he's trying to do is he's testing the bounds of his authority and how much he can violate the Constitution and what the court's response will be. That's to me what it seems like he's actually trying to do rather than actually address the violent crime in these cities.
I'm not against the National Guard going into red states in the slightest. I'm saying that I'm asking you what is your issue with them going into the blue states, not, and I understand if they're only going into blue states, but my point is the National Guard is called to these areas where really crazy things are happening. Like you said, like these crazy murder capitals. I think they should be there too, but I encourage them to go to these places where people are doing such heinous things.
Okay, so here's my one thing is that like when I brought up the federal agents not being they wouldn't get attacked specifically if it was the case that they weren't sent in the first place. The point that I was making with that is that the Trump administration is causing conflict in these different states specifically by sending federal National Guard to these states when it is the case that that specific type of violence did not exist prior to that point. So I'm saying that they're actually making it more divisive. They're causing more violence by specifically sending the federal National Guard there. That's kind of like the point that I was making. Secondly, my issue is that him sending like the National Guard to these states is because the like governors have not requested this and actually disagree with them doing so. So again, if that's the disagreement, that's the issue constitutionally, send them to places where the governors are asking for it. We don't have unlimited resources, right? So send it to places where they want to go. And if he's not doing that, well, it's because he doesn't actually care about addressing crime and he's running political theater and he's trying to see how far he can go and see what the courts are going to do in response to his authoritarian actions. That is what he's doing. And I'm telling you this not because I'm trying to fearmonger. I'm telling you this because it's a threat to our country. and because we are going to have massive issues to an extremely greater extent if we don't stand up now against this bullshit.
So what is the solution for these states that I have witnessed with my own two eyes? I wouldn't just make this up. The police, there's not enough of them. They're standing by because these crowds are so immensely large, and they are all attacking the police. They're attacking ICE agents. Portland.
So what is the level of crime in Portland?
And it's many other places too. I just don't have every single location.
What is the violent crime rate in Portland?
Huh?
What's the violent crime rate in Portland?
I don't know.
So then how do you know it's worse in Portland right now comparative to prior?
Because I have eyes. I see what's happening.
I mean,
if you look it up, I have to live in Portland to have witnessed it.
Well, you said eyes. You saw it with your eyes. I mean, I don't know how you would have saw it
on a video, on multiple videos
so
by multiple witnesses.
By the way, you can't tell a rate of crime just by looking at a video.
I can see the multitude of people and know that this is becoming a huge issue.
So you're saying that this is becoming a huge issue, but you have yet to specify a specific stat. Could you specify a specific stat that is shows that it's
just
worse off in
because
Portland?
I can't
and also again, this is not unique to Portland, right? There are places around the world where there's crime. Okay, why is it the case that Trump is only sending it to these blue states where he knows that there's going to be a constitutional issue? Please tell me you realize that this is him trying to test his bounds of his authoritarian control. Please tell me you realize that.
You're not answering my question though. What is the issue with sending? What is the issue with sending the National Guard to an area where these people gather and commit violent crimes, and there are so many that they are nearly, if they wanted to, they could easily tenfold take over the police, and that's why they're unable to do anything.
The police are not a threat at being taken over in Portland. Okay, this is obviously a ridiculous
They're
argument.
hitting them because they're calling them fascists.
I'm sorry,
they're not even doing anything.
To argue that they're about to take over the police is a ridiculous point. Okay, I'm sorry. No, you haven't.
Okay,
you have not seen that. You have not seen that. Don't do this. You're playing playing right into Trump's narrative. You're playing right into it.
I have witnessed these people attacking law enforcement.
Okay,
not just one.
I'm sorry. That's not unique. 50. You understand that's not unique to just one area in the United States, right? There are places all around the United States where there are police officers that have been attacked. Do you know that, right? Did you know that? For example, in D.C. on January 6th. And, Donald Trump pardoned the people who did that.
I'm going to let you finish.
I'm already done.
You're not answering my question. In these places, should we allow the National Guard if there are multiple people attacking law enforcement and it's getting out of hand? It's getting to where the police, first of all, they might not, they're just standing by and they're not really doing anything. And I'm not saying that's right either. They need to do their job and arrest these people that are assaulting.
You live in a
Nick
different
Shirley's
reality.
Literally just walking in these.
You live in a different reality than everyone else. I swear. It's like
you live in a different reality.
Genuinely,
Parker.
The police are not at threat of being taken over, right? In Portland, that's not happening. If that were happening, yes, it would make sense to send to the National Guard.
I'm saying in a small area.
Hold on. Can I please finish?
You love to interrupt me, but I can't interrupt you.
Go ahead. Say whatever you want. Interrupt me whenever the conversation. That will be so productive. Go for
it. What you're doing is you're trying to make everything I say sound silly. I'm giving you real life accounts of things that are happening.
That's not me.
And you're just pretty much saying that I'm silly. I'm indoctrinated. This isn't really happening. Yes, it is.
It's not. You don't actually have any basis for this. It is silly. You're doing that yourself. It's not me doing that. It's you yourself doing that. Okay? I don't know why you're trying to brand I'm doing this when it's you arguing that, and then people respond that way because it is silly.
You're telling me that has not happened in Portland, that people have not attacked the police and that there's not thousands of people.
People have attacked police officers, but it is not to a point where the police officers are about to be taken over. We can also point to how police officers have been attacked by ICE agents and by federal officers in the National Guard.
Okay, let me rephrase. Let me not use the word takeover. These people are becoming too much to handle for
No,
just the.
Has that been
Why
said by
not?
the police? Can you tell me which police department said that
I
in
think
Portland?
actions speak better than words.
Which police department said that?
I think actions speak better than
I think
words.
if this were happening, police departments would indicate that they need help, right?
That's why they sent the National Guard.
No, it's not. Because the police officers have not advocated for this, have not asked for this. The governor has not asked for this. It's actually against what the police officers are advocating for. It's against what the governor is asking for, because Donald Trump is again trying to declare war on American cities, to declare war on the enemy within, and to literally try and fight people, right? Specifically to test his authoritarian control, right? And what the courts are going to do in response. Again, people in Portland are telling you this is not true. Police officers in Portland are telling you this is not true. Okay? You don't have a source for this. This is just a literal claim from the Trump administration that they're trying to fearmonger people into believing because it's a utilized method of control.
I've never heard them say that. I'm just saying what I've witnessed. I'm saying that I've seen a lot of people. So what would be your resolution? What's your resolution to this?
Yeah. So what I think that you should do, I think you should send the National Guard under your own perspective. I don't think we should do this under my perspective. I don't think the National Guard needs to be sent anywhere, essentially. But under your own
No, I want to
perspective,
know what you
if
would
you
do.
want to test this, send this to red states, show the rest of the United States that's an effective mechanism to address crime, and then other places around the United States will ask for it.
I'm not against sending them to red states. I've never made that claim.
Well, that's the
I'm
best
just
way to prove
saying
it.
that
You said,
it's.
what's the solution? I gave you the solution.
I'm asking, but that's not answering my question. I'm asking, is
Tell
it
me, what
okay
question
for
am I
the
not answering?
is it okay for the National Guard to go in and handle this situation where there's a multitude of people attacking law enforcement
In
and
Portland, no.
innocent people? And why aren't you for that? Like, why is that wrong to you?
Because none of the police departments have asked for it, because the governor has not asked for it, and they've actually advocated against this happening. And they're actively saying, no, we do not want you to come. Because it makes the conditions worse, not better.
So just because of people's personal beliefs and how they view law enforcement is making that's an excuse for their actions. That's an excuse to act out.
What do you mean an excuse to act out? I said that the
You told
places...
me that they're pretty much making it worse by going there.
They are, yes. That's what the places themselves have indicated to be true, and that's what we saw here in LA. I live in Los Angeles, and it was better prior to the National Guard being sent here.
Yeah, because people were getting away with it. So of course they were happy.
What am I doing?
I'm not did I say you? I'm talking about the people.
I said me. I'm happy. What do you mean? Why is that a response to me saying I'm happy?
Okay, maybe I misheard you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that are committing crimes. Why are you against the National Guard stopping people from committing crimes?
Because the governor doesn't want the National Guard to be sent. I don't want to live in an authoritarian police state. I think that there needs to be more investment specifically into how we're addressing this on a local level, which does not have to do with the federal government. I do not want the federal government, especially under the Trump administration, have any jurisdiction over the area that I'm living in. I would prefer it specifically to be the state of California dealing with it. That's from someone living in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles right now. I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Nice. So what do you do when that's not enough?
What do you mean?
When your state isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. They're not stopping these people.
I think my state
not
is doing
stopping the
more
crime.
than the federal government.
Okay. But I'm saying in a situation to where your state, let's do hypothetical since you don't want to agree. If your state, if there are riots in your state, I don't care what it's for. Let's even say hypothetically it is right-wing MAGAs and they are burning things to the ground, and say for some reason the police aren't able to handle the situation or control it, or they're just standing
Okay,
aside.
this is
And
this is the issue that I'm having, is that you're assuming these conditions to be true where the police cannot handle it. Okay? That's not what's happening in any of these areas. It's disingenuous for you to argue this when that's not happening. You're living in an alternate reality.
so I want you, just do me a favor. Do me a huge favor, as much as it may pain you. Go watch a Nick Shirley video. You don't have to watch anything he says. You don't have to
How
watch
about you
anything he
go into
says.
Nick Shirley's comment section? How about you go into all of his streams and tell him to debate me?
I would love that. I would love
I
that.
would love to debate him. Let's see if he can actually argue his positions with me. I would love
I
to
would
see
love
that.
that. I would definitely pay to watch that. So if you guys ever decide to go in on it, that'd be great. But that doesn't answer my
Speaking of which,
question.
I'll see what I can do to get that to happen, and I'll destroy
Please.
him on
Oh my
on a
gosh.
stage of millions.
I would love it. Go ahead. So, by the way, comments like that are what divide us. Just saying.
What?
Because you're not
Me?
saying it like, yes,
How?
you don't understand. You're not saying that with any disdain in your heart, Parker.
I'm saying that with the fact that I
I will
really vehemently
destroy him. I
disagree
will
with.
go up there and I will obliterate his whole argument.
Yeah, I can't say I'm
Why
going to
can't
beat
you
people
just
in a
why
debate. I
why
can't say
can't
I'm
you
going to win a
just
debate in
you're proud.
2025.
You're proud.
You're such
You're
a snowflake.
proud.
I can't say that I'm going to win a debate.
No, you didn't say I'm going to win a debate. You said I'm going to obliterate him, man. Like prove all these MAGAs why they're so stupid and wrong. That's essentially what you're saying,
literally
right?
all. That's all. That just means win a debate. Yeah.
Okay, but how does that bring us together? I thought the left is supposed to be
Because
full of love
it
and
brings us together
everything
towards
else.
facts and reality. If I prove you wrong, it brings us towards facts. So I think that we unify through critical thinking. I think that we unify through reason. I think that we specifically will come together and unify through facts, reason,
But
and
how can
logic.
you?
That's how we unify in evidence. We do not unify by accepting conspiracy bullshit, right? And me calling that out and me saying it's stupid is important for unity, because we cannot have
That's
unity when
important for
people
unity.
believe in
Calling people
bullshit.
stupid.
Yes, when people believe in bullshit, how are we going to unify? If we all have just our own,
Okay.
if we all just make up our own conspiracy theories, how are we ever going to be on the same basis? The only way that we can truly come to the same basis and unify is if we are believing in the same facts and reality. Okay.
Do
So
you
I
expect
understand.
someone
I understand that you want me to be more respectful, but if you actually cared about that, you'd ask that from your president, and you wouldn't vote for a candidate like that who had a nickname for every single person that he ran up against to discredit them, to act like they're lesser than, right?
As a woman, I would rather have a sexist as president than someone who argues for the murder of millions and millions of lives every single year.
Who?
Kamala, didn't she not
Kamala? Wait.
support abortion?
Argues for murders of millions. By the way, millions of abortions don't occur in the United States per year. Secondly, if you want to look at the level of abortions that occur, there's
It's a
actually
co-
more.
it's a few
There's actually
million.
more abortions that occur now since Roe versus Wade was overturned than there was prior when Roe versus Wade was in place. So actually, Donald Trump, under your view, is also in support of the quote unquote murder of millions, because it is the case that he is okay with it being left up to the states. His position is
I
also, from a moral perspective, says that it's too early at like 6 weeks. That's what he was saying. He was saying that it was better at quote unquote 15 weeks, which actually is okay with over 90% of abortions. Did you know that?
did you I've said this multiple times now. Did you not hear me when I told you I do not agree with everything our president says?
Okay, but this
When
argument
did
that
I
you
say
just
I
applied
love
to
him?
Kamala Harris is also applicable to Trump, but you'll only apply the standard to Kamala Harris, and you will never apply the standard to Donald Trump. You'll overlook the fact that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse. You overlook the fact that he incited a violent
No,
insurrection at the
because with
Capitol,
him it
and he
was
pardoned the
less. It
violent
was
rioters who
less
beat police
abortions.
officers. You overlook the fact that he specifically, right, literally said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. You'll overlook the fact that his big, beautiful bill specifically adds $3.4 trillion to the debt and also cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month in this country. You'll overlook all of that. Why? Because you think that Democrats are arguing for the murder of millions, yet Donald Trump has that very same position.
I disagree. I don't think he's ever advocated for the murder of millions. I'm saying
He
and
did, right? Under your own perspective.
Are you gonna
He
let me
thinks
finish?
No, because I just argued the reason why, and you didn't listen. What was
You're
my
not letting
argument?
me finish. I'm going to get to that. You're
Go
saying
ahead.
that he left it up to the states, which inherently is allowing the same exact thing as Kamala. But he's
Kamala.
saying yeah. So he's saying for his stance is more what do you want to call it? Strict. There's tighter barriers on his stance than hers.
Okay. Tighter. I'm confused what your point is there. What?
Trump's stance is going to prevent more murders than allowing Kamala to just what? How do you pronounce her name? Kamala.
Kamala.
Okay, Kamala. It will prevent. Trust me, I would have loved, and it killed me. It killed me to have to vote Republican because I wanted a female president so badly. But I cannot align myself with people who think that murder is okay.
Okay, so let's clarify. Do you think a zygote is a person?
Like a human being?
A zygote, a single cell organism at conception.
It's a human being.
So you think it's a single cell organism is a human being. So if I had a petri dish with a zygote in it and I slapped the shit out of it to kill it for fun, for TikTok and YouTube content, for the 11,000 people that are in the stream, would you like say I should go to murder, or should I should go to prison for murder?
Yes. Why don't you? If that is so, do you agree that if I was going to
Cancel
get
Parker?
IVF,
So you want Parker to get canceled for killing a zygote?
1,000,000,000%. Do you agree that anyone who walks into a medical facility and would take a potential life of someone's child that they're trying so hard to get, you don't think there should be any cause for like reprimanding that person? You think that's just okay to do? That's what you're arguing, Parker.
Yeah, mass unfollowing of Parker, get a job, everyone. You heard it here first, folks. Mass unfollowing of Parker, get a job, because he's a zygote killer. Okay. A zygote killer on the loose. Mass unfollowing Parker, get a job.
So
don't follow him anymore.
Okay.
Stop following this guy. He's a zygote killer, a serial zygote killer.
Is that what you're going to do because you know that I'm right? You think that's okay?
No,
you think that should be legal? Do you think that should be legal?
Absolutely. I think I should be able to legally go on the live
to
and
walk
slap
into a
zygote.
medical facility and
with my
take
own. I'm
a
talking
woman. First of all, is that not part of a woman's body?
I'm not talking about. No, we're talking about a zygote in a petri dish, and it's my own zygote that I made. I'm a zygote slapper.
You did not just make that zygote yourself.
Yes, I did.
Where'd you get the egg?
My girlfriend. My girlfriend consented, and she said that she wanted me to slap the zygote on the stream.
No.
What? What do you mean no? My girlfriend is in. My girlfriend is in with it. She wants me to be a zygote killer. She knows I'm gonna be the very best that no one ever was. To kill every zygote is... Pokemon. Gotta kill the zygotes.
I don't know how you could say that with a smile on your face. I really don't. It's not even funny, Parker. I don't know if you just.
It's fucking hilarious. Actually, it's not funny. It's fucking hilarious. I totally
it's really
agree.
Not.
It's not even just funny.
So
it's fucking hilarious. I think it's amazing.
There are women out here that literally their hearts are torn apart because they're not able to have
a single cell organism. Are you kidding me? A single cell.
With the potential.
There's not a single person in this live stream of almost 12,000 people that actually cares about a zygote. I'm sorry. No one cares about a zygote. Seriously, if you care about a zygote, you are one of the sole of there's probably less than 1 million people on the planet. Actually, in all considerations of things, there's probably less than 1 million people on the planet that actually view zygotes as people and human beings of the same moral worth as me and you. Literally, there's probably 1 million people on the planet. Out of fucking 8 billion people on the planet, there's maybe 1 million.
So let me get this straight. If that's okay, because it's just a single cell organism. When is it not okay? When it just starts growing more cells? We grow new cells every day. Our red blood cell production every day continues to grow. So why is that okay? Because we're stopping it so early that there's no moral worth there. You don't believe there's any moral worth within a zygote,
Absolutely fucking none.
even though you were one.
I mean, I used to be
Your
a sperm
mother
and an
was
egg,
one. Your father was one.
and they
You
used to be sperm and egg.
which is a zygote.
No, sperm and egg prior to fertilization is not a zygote yet. But dude,
No,
I don't
you
give a shit
said
about.
sperm and egg
I'm sorry.
together.
I have a question. Do you think that you could fully look at a human being under a microscope?
What?
Do you think you could fully look at an entire human being
Why are
underneath
you
a
asking
microscope?
questions that we both know the answer to? That's disrespectful.
Do,
Obviously,
do you believe in Ant-Man? Do you believe that technology is real? Do you believe in Ant-Man? Do you believe that's possible?
I don't know how someone could sit here and say that it's funny or it's a joke to kill the potential 20-year-old who loves going to coffee
What do
shops
you mean
and
kill the
brags
potential
about
20? I'm sorry. It's a single cell organism. What are you talking about?
that will mo in a lot
I'm
of different
sorry.
cases. I'm not
I'm
talking
sorry.
about
No, I can't even fathom we're having this conversation about a single cell organism. It's a bacteria, bro. It's
that will
literally
be
the
a human
same
being. That
level
will
of
be a
complexity of
human
life
being.
as a bacteria.
That will be a human being.
I thought under your view it
And you're
already.
stopping that
Wait,
progression.
I thought it
That's
was.
like saying,
Wait,
"Oh,
wait,
this
wait. You said
newborn
you said
is
that.
inconvenient,
Pause.
so let's
Pause.
just
Pause.
kill him."
Pause. You said it will be a human being, so you at least agree it's not currently a human being. Okay, agreed. Zygotes
Well,
are not currently human beings. So if I kill
I'm
a zygote,
saying
why should I go to
using
prison? If it's not a human being, why should I go to prison for murdering it under
you
your
can't
view?
overtalk me to try to prove your point. I'm saying it
I was
from
still
your
speaking.
perspective because you don't think that's a human being.
Obviously, it's a zygote's not a human being.
So, what species is the zygote?
It's of the human species, but it doesn't make it a human being.
Oh, so it's a human, right?
Well, I have a question. Human sperm, is it of the human species?
A sperm is not the same thing as a
Well, no, but
zygote.
answer
You
the
and
question.
I
Answer,
both
she can't
know
answer that.
that.
She won't be able to answer this question. Human sperm. What species is it of?
I don't think it's a species.
Yeah, there's some living beings don't have a species under your view. Really?
I'm saying that a zygote is completely and utterly different
Can
from
you answer
a
this question?
sperm, and you
Can
know
you answer this
that.
question? Do all living beings have a species?
Do all living beings have a species?
Yes.
As in, like, dog, cat, human.
Like a species classification. Homo sapien is a species classification.
Do all living things have that?
Yes.
No.
No? Could you let me know what living things do not have species classifications?
Unless maybe I told you got to watch me with my vocabulary here and the exact
Their species list,
definitions.
everyone, their species list. They don't have a
All right,
species.
Parker,
No species
that's-
for those living organisms. Could you tell me what a species is?
No, I couldn't. And I told you that from the start, Parker. I told you that my vocabulary was not going to be broad. I don't get on here every day like you do, and I don't do as much research as you do. But I have morals, and killing living things is wrong. Human beings in particular. So nobody come at me with the tree content.
Okay, so is it murder to pull the plug on an individual in your family that's brain dead?
We already discussed this.
Yes, and what's your position on that still at this point?
I told you my position on that was we need to have advanced directives, which a lot of people do. If that we don't know, I think those people should be kept alive. I don't think we should be given the option, and that's why I think
everyone in the comment section that did pull the plug, you think that they're a murderer?
No.
No, but they're a living organism. They're living. They're of the human species.
I feel like that's a merciful death that's already waiting to happen, though.
What do you mean a merciful death? I'm sorry.
That's,
What?
You think? Do you believe that someone should just live there?
When
with
I
no
slapped the
sentence?
fuck out of the zygote, that was a merciful death.
We talked about this? That has potential. A zygote has potential.
Yeah, it has potential to get slapped.
Okay, Parker. I'll be done here. because I don't think we're going to find common ground on that.
I
And
don't think either. Like, I think if you think that a single cell, well, actually, let me ask you this question: if you're in a burning building and you can either save 2 zygotes in petri dishes or 1 newborn
this
baby,
is the Jubilee question.
which would you rather save?
If you're in a burning building and there is a newborn and 2 zygotes,
Yeah, and you can either save the 2 zygotes or the 1 newborn baby. Which would you rather save?
that's not a fair question because I know how I'd answer it, and that's where you get people. But that's not a fair.
So yeah, would you rather save
statement.
2 human beings or 1 human being under your view? Which one is it? 2 human beings or 1 human being?
If those zygotes are going to be implanted into a woman and be a life, and that's the future for sure, the zygotes. All right, Parker.
You would save 2 zygotes over a newborn baby from a burning building? You'd let the newborn
Okay, let me
baby
ask you this.
burn
Let me ask
alive
you this.
because
Let
of
me
2
ask you
single cell organisms, dude.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather save 2 adults or 1 3-year-old?
I'm sorry. Like I think we would save 2 people over 1 person. Like, all things considered, we don't know anything about them.
But
like,
you disagreed with what I just said, that you just chose the same exact option.
how so?
Because I told you those are going to be 2
adults are
people.
sentient. 2
What
adults
does
are
it matter?
sentient.
So for you,
Wait,
what
I'm
matters
sorry.
to you
Pause,
is
pause.
location,
2
age,
adults are sentient. Like,
and
they have
we've already
experiences.
clarified
They're
that.
going to experience being burned alive.
Like I said, you make good points.
Like, your question was, would you
rather?
rather save 2 human beings or 1? Math tells you 2 is more than 1. This isn't a complicated
Right,
thing to
but
understand.
Again, with the disrespect.
No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I literally am just describing.
It
It's not a
comes
complicated
across
thing to
like that,
understand.
Parker. I'm trying to find common ground. I'm trying to show people that we can have a discussion and we don't have to hate each other. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Okay, but like, we can't act like every single view that's said should be treated the same. If someone comes on live and they say that they believe the Earth is flat, should I treat that as a valid perspective?
Yes, but you can educate.
Yes.
Respectfully, not laughing, rolling your eyes.
No, I can totally. At a certain point, after I've had a conversation with them and they're not changing their mind, I think it's totally reasonable for me to say that they're stupid.
So you think I'm stupid?
I didn't say it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're disrespectful.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I said that about
you
flat
didn't say
earthers.
it, but
I was
you
talking.
made- you
I
gave
was
the
talking
look
about.
smile.
Stop. I was talking about flat earthers. Okay.
All right.
I'm serious. I was talking about flat earthers. I didn't talk about you.
I'll have you know, I'm a very educated individual. I just am not educated on every single thing I've ever come across, especially
How about this?
politics.
To ask you a question, could you name 2 Trump economic policies he influenced to get passed that you like?
2 economic policies that he influenced?
Yeah, to get passed that you like.
No, I could not.
How many branches of government are there?
3.
What are they?
Legislative, judicial, and executive.
What are the 2 main aspects of the legislative branch?
Do you want to go back and forth? Because I could also ask you things that eventually you'll
Go
get
ahead.
an incorrect answer to.
Go ahead. What are the 2 main
Okay, what
aspects
is-
of the legislative branch?
I don't know. But
The House and the
is
Senate?
that your goal? Is that your goal, to just try to find something that I'm not educated
go
on
ahead.
and be
Go
like,
ahead.
wow, look how stupid she is?
Ask me how many members are in the House of Representatives. 435. Ask me how many members are in the Senate. 100. Ask
But
me
this is
anything about
what
the context of the
Parker,
federal government from a basic
Slow
level.
down, calm down.
Yeah, calm
You
down.
do this every day. You do this every single day.
Okay.
I work a full-time job in a hospital every single day.
Great
I have
for
a
you.
son.
What does VAER
I'm
stand
not.
for?
I'm not comparing. I think it's great what you do. I
Can I
love,
ask you a
no
question?
matter what you think, I love that you use your freedom of speech and that you are very passionate about what you believe in. I love that. And I mean that genuinely.
What does VAER stand for?
What to spell it?
VAERS. VAERS.
I have no clue.
Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. You said you work in a hospital.
Yes, but you need to know what type of job I do in the hospital. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
I'm not asking. I only asked that because, like, you know, my parents worked in the hospital. My mom was a nurse and my dad's a doctor. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure your mom wouldn't know as much as your dad would know about every single system in the body. So it's
Well, I
not.
wasn't asking about systems in the body. I asked you about Varus. My mom would know what Varus
I'm
stands
making
for.
an analogy. I'm making an analogy.
Okay,
You
but
can't
like
compare that because
I
I'm
guess how
not
would you know how much my mom would know versus my dad? Like there are
because I
plenty of
work in a
nurses that know
hospital.
more than doctors, but
But there's it depends on what you're talking about, does it not?
obviously, but like I mean, I think that there are plenty of nurses I could point to that know a lot more than the doctors.
It depends on what you're talking about.
Exactly. So like I guess the assumption is what
I'm
I was
sure
just
if I
trying to
had a
push back
nurse go
on.
and take the boards and the medical examinations, they wouldn't pass. Maybe here and there some would, but then again, you could say in the same breath that if you had a doctor go in and try to do wound care, they wouldn't have a clue what they were doing. So
Yeah.
that's
So
kind of
yeah, but the
you see
point
what
that I
I'm
was making
saying.
was just like how we viewed nurses versus
I, I,
doctors. I
I
guess the
assure you, I do my job well and I take pride in it. I was the valedictorian of my college class. I am no dummy over here. I'm just not educated and I'm ignorant about a lot of things in politics. And that's why I come on here to try to learn and to not,
how do you
you
feel
know,
about Trump
argue
saying
with
that
people.
that nothing bad can happen, only good happen in relation to not taking Tylenol to treat fever during pregnancy?
He said, I'm sorry, go ahead and repeat that.
He said nothing bad can happen, only good happen.
With taking Tylenol with pregnancy, I thought he
No,
was,
with not
he's
taking
against it.
Tylenol, to treat fevers during pregnancy.
I I had COVID unfortunately twice when I was pregnant, and thank God for Tylenol
Okay,
because I would much rather have a quote unquote. And I'm just people. I don't agree with it, so calm down.
there's no
I would much
association.
rather
I know
have.
exactly. There's no association between Tylenol usage during pregnancy and autism. There's a Swedish study
I
that looked
don't believe
over.
that either.
Yeah, so like that's the point that I was
Yeah,
essentially trying to get you to run into is that
correlation is not causation,
yeah,
and that's what they're seeing.
exactly. So like
Um,
essentially the point that I'm getting to is that like you should be able to realize from the standpoint you are, because especially because the type of work that you do, that Donald Trump and his administration lie about science, and that creates a public health crisis, right?
no, I trust me. If there's anything that I'm against to, it's totally that. You don't have to worry about my child, sweetheart. He's with his amazing father. And mom just got off of a 16-hour shift, so I think I'm entitled to a little bit of me time. You should know that as a woman yourself. However, that's why I gotta turn the phone so I
I'm
quit
confused.
reading these.
Were you responding to like a comment or something? I'm
I was
confused.
responding to a comment. I wasn't reading them for like a whole hour and a half, and then I started looking at them. However, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
about Trump.
Here,
No, no, no,
I
no,
guess,
no.
I
I
guess, I guess,
totally,
because you're
totally,
reading
totally
random
disagree.
comments, I'll read them too. Laura, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Kim, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Heidi, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Julia, thank you for the 15. I really appreciate it. Raymond with the 10. Thank you. Reba, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Juliana, thank you so much for the $15. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Marissa, thank you so much for the 10. Jeanette, thank you so much for the 420. Thank you for not 420, but 420. Orange, thank you so much for the 5. Margaret, thank you so much for the 25. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Chelsea, thank you so much for the 5. Heather, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Lars with the 40. Can we get some W's for Lars in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. Maria, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Kathy with the 10. Darling with the $5. Thank you. Daniel, thank you for the 5. Jamie with the 10. Susie, thank you for the 10 as well. I really appreciate it. By the way, we can't say like specifically what they're coming from, like the C, V, or P, because TikTok apparently is restricting people today. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 1. Thank you so much. Julia with the 15. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Victoria, thank you for the 2. Can we get some W's for Victoria? Thank you. Jacob, thank you. I really appreciate the 5. Martha with the 10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Laura, thank you so much for the 10 as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let me catch up on YouTube as well, and then we'll continue with the conversation, everybody. By the way, if you're on YouTube, make sure to follow me if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's absolutely free to do so. Like the stream if you haven't already for the almost 4,000 people in here. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Also, follow me if you haven't already. We're back on the main account today, so make sure you're following here. John, thank you for the 10. Kathleen with the 10, thank you. Nair, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. King Ranch, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Felonious, thank you for the 10. Marin, thank you for the 50. Create some W's for Marin in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yes, maternal mortality has significantly increased. Absolutely. Since the overturning of Roe. Fumbling, thank you so much for the 5. Anothi, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Cody with the 5. Fish, thank you for the 10. Kathleen with the 2. Mrs. B, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 5. Lynn with the 5. Marin, thank you for the 20. Thank you so much. Feisty with the 5. Kathleen with the 5. Cody with the 2. King Ranch, thank you so much for the 20. Green for Whiskey, thank you so much for the 5. Kathleen with the 10. Marin with the 20 again. And Kathleen again with the 50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Put some W's for Kathleen in the comment section. London, thank you for the 10. Ray, thank you so much for the 2. Heather, thank you for the 5. Rachel, thank you for the 5. King, thank you so much for the 20. Chris with the 10. Sean, thank you for the 5. Kathleen with the 5. Kathleen again with the 5. Rachel, again, thank you so much. And Ray, thank you for the 2. Wells Green, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Terry, Robin and Terry, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 50. Great to see. Thank you so much. Good some W's for Robin and Terry. Thank you so much for the 50. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's cool to see. Cool to see. I grew up in the QC. John, thank you for the 10 as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Martina, thank you for the 25. I really appreciate it as well. Thank you. All right, I am completely caught up. What were you arguing?
I think that was just about it. We were talking about Trump's stance on Tylenol, and I think that is no.
I guess
I don't agree with that in the slightest.
I guess the last question, even considering that Donald Trump's position on abortion and everything, would you vote for him if he were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman?
No.
No? Well, he was held civilly liable of sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll, forcefully penetrating her vagina against her will.
Was he ever tried for this?
Yes, he was an entire jury unanimously determined that he sexually abused Eugene Carroll in a civil court.
Okay, well, you also have to add in who I'm voting against, like who he's running against.
Okay, so given that he's running against Kamala Harris, would you vote for him if you were held civilly liable of sexual abuse?
So, my perspective, murders of millions or
well, the distinction was in millions because abortion has
over
gone up
years of time.
Abortion has gone up since Roe versus Wade was overturned, so is maternal mortality rate. So one, you'd have to take into account the change specifically in the level of abortions that occurs, which isn't something that you'd be able to qualify to the degree of millions. Secondly, it's crazy to say that you'd vote for someone held civilly liable of sexual abuse in that context. I'll ask you and see how far you'd go. If Donald Trump was held civilly liable of sexually abusing a child, would you vote for him?
That didn't happen, though.
If he were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a child, would you vote for him over Kamala Harris?
No.
Okay. So what is the relevant difference between the victim being an adult and the victim being a child? That means in one scenario you'd vote for him, but not in the other.
You come up with these hypotheticals that aren't even applicable to everyday life.
This is applicable.
He's never done that, so how is it relevant?
No, but the reason why it's applicable is because I think that when you hear that the victim is a child, you'll think it's bad enough to say that you wouldn't support him. But when the victim is a woman, for some reason, people overlook it to a greater extent. And for some reason, they don't realize how bad it is, and they're willing to vote for him, even so. So,
would you rather vote for Hitler or if Trump sexually assaulted a child and you already know what Hitler's going to do? Who would you vote for?
Obviously, in that circumstance, you wouldn't want to vote for either.
That's what you're asking me.
That's
what you're asking. No, give me an answer. You wanted an answer from me.
In that context, you wouldn't vote.
Give me an answer.
In that context, you wouldn't vote.
Exactly.
So then would you just say that you wouldn't vote? If he were held civilly liable?
I think that'd be a better stance.
Okay, so then given that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse, would you say that you wouldn't vote for him?
Over someone that is... I already gave you my opinion. I would vote for him with the allegation over someone who advocates for abortion and says that it's all okay, it's fine, just go have your abortion up to how many ever months you want.
Wait. So again, the point I was saying is that wouldn't the hypothetical you brought up would get you to not vote for either. So would you at least say that you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump then, given that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse? It's not just an allegation. He was held civilly liable.
I'd have to see that because I haven't seen that.
Also, like 26 other women indicated that he engaged in sexual misconduct towards them. Do you think that they're all lying?
I don't know. I think a lot of people in this world will. I would listen. I'm never going to victim blame. I'm never going to say that these women are lying because I don't know. But I'm telling you that I don't think that whatever way you're trying to justify the murder of millions, yes, millions over the course of 4 years, because that's how long a president is in term, millions of lives.
No, but
I don't
you have
think
to
that's
categorize the
justifiable.
distinction. You have to categorize the distinction between Roe versus Wade being overturned and Roe versus Wade not being overturned, because all abortions don't cease to occur if Trump's in office. Right now, Trump's in
No,
office. There are more
I know
abortions
that.
now than what existed prior. Since Roe versus Wade is overturned, abortions have gone up. Maternal mortality rate has gone up. So you have to actually address that.
Where do you get that source from? Genuinely.
So
Because you wouldn't think that would happen, right? You would think the opposite would happen.
yes, I got you. I mean, you would think that, but that's not the case. So it actually, the conditions create like the situation where more people will specifically get abortions, because it is the case that they don't know whether or not they'll be able to get it in the long run. Plus, people would go to other states to be able to get access to it. But yes, I can. It's just the level of abortions that have occurred. Are you asking like? Do you want me to give you like something on 2025?
Yeah.
Or
I do have to get off
you
of here
looking for?
really, really soon, though. Just any reference to the statistics you just brought up.
Yeah, I got you. I'll let Dean talk to you in a second while I pull this up.
Oh, is that Dean?
Yeah. Hey, I have no context of the conversation. I just scrolled in and shot
You've
you a
missed a
text.
lot.
Parker.
I do want to thank you both. As much as the chat's going to hate this, I do genuinely thank you both for your respect towards Charlie after his death. I know you guys
Hold up.
very much so disagreed, but I appreciate the
Hold up.
respect.
Here we go.
I really do.
I have an article. U.S. abortions reach highest level in over a decade, sparked by surge in medical abortion. And that categorizes the change in abortions after the 2022 Dobbs decision.
What website is that from?
This is getting it's just from CNN reporting on it. It's just reporting on the level of abortions. I don't think that would be a.
Do you have
disputed
anything
point.
that's not from
You want me to give
CNN?
you? Yes, I'll give you a Gallup poll. Would you like that? That was just literally what was reporting on it. By the way.
Any independent midway news
You won't
channel?
accept Gallup either.
I've never heard of it. I'm not
This
sure
is
what
just
kind
on
of
the
news
level of
station that is.
abortions that have occurred.
Yeah, Gallup's reputable.
I can also go to the Guttmacher Institute.
Yeah. Oh, dude, if Gallup and Guttmacher are both reporting the same thing, then it's a fact.
Yeah, I'll take it from there. Especially, my knowledge on what news stations report what type of news is very minimal.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to the only reason I cited CNN there is because it's reported on by so many different areas, and I was just picking the first one.
No, and they're a big news site. No, I know that. So
No, I don't
probably the
typically
first
cite
one that
CNN.
came
That's
up.
not like the site that I typically like to cite. I just didn't think that would be a disputed point.
No,
It's
and
just
I
the level
think,
of abortions that occurred.
honestly, in my opinion, I don't think people should watch CNN or Fox. I think they should watch these people that report both sides of it, and they're non-biased networks.
Like
Yeah, sure.
like me. You think people should follow me and stay up to date with the news?
Dean, I was telling Parker, I watched you guys debate Charlie on Jubilee, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, I have a lot of respect for you both, even though I know we don't agree.
Very
But
interesting.
under your view,
very much
aren't we
so.
arguing for the murder of millions?
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's a good point,
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, like
No,
under your view,
like
we're
I said,
arguing for the
but I
murder of
also
millions.
think we don't look at it. But here's
Yeah,
the
like
thing:
listen.
we
If a
don't look at it the
Nazi,
same.
if a Nazi sat down across the table from somebody like, I don't know, just insert like random political influencer here, and they were like, well, listen, actually, like the mass genocide of Jewish individuals is justified for reasons X, Y, and Z. Like obviously, like you wouldn't walk away from that conversation saying, well, I have respect for both parties. And I'm
Well, I
assuming
don't
because
think
of
that
like
the
the
mindset
suggestion
of
that
you guys
one
versus
moment.
a Nazi is the same mindset.
Well, I'm assuming
I
the
don't like
suggestion.
I don't
If
like
you
you
could let me
guys
finish my
to
point, I'll be like,
categorize me as that.
uh,
So I
I,
have to interrupt you on that note.
and I'm assuming the suggestion here is that like you have already suggested in this conversation before that you think like the death of fetuses is like murder, is like incredibly wrong, just as wrong as like the death of anybody else. Like seemingly, right? You'd have like no reason to say that somebody like advocating for the pro-choice worldview would be any different. However, obviously, right? That's insane to say that being pro-choice is no different from being a Nazi, right? Which kind of like intuitionally proves here that even you know that it's not truly murder to kill a fetus.
I truly believe that it is, but I believe that your mindset, as well as Parker's and most of the people in the chat, you don't believe that that's what it is. That's just my stance. And I feel you guys are going
I
to laugh
actually
at me.
gave
I
her
feel
this reductio earlier, Dean. I asked if she would hold Nazis accountable after the crimes because she said that like people who are killing like lots of zygotes and embryos through IVF to the degree of millions, like over years, like that they shouldn't be held accountable for war crimes or crimes against humanity because they've been propagandized to believe that they're not as human.
Oh, yeah,
No, I
what'd she
didn't say
say?
that about the Nazis. I did not say that they shouldn't be held accountable.
No. I said that you said the IVF people who work at IVF clinics.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Listen, Dean, you joined at the worst time because I would love to stay, especially since you joined. But I do have a request for both of you. If you could go and reach out to, as far as debating people, Kristen Hawkins on abortion and Candace Owens on everything else.
I would debate Candace Owens.
I would love that so much. So if you guys can make that happen, I would love it. So.
All right.
But
For sure.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate the conversation. I hope you guys both have a good rest of your night.
Alrighty, for sure. Alrighty, let's go on to the next individual real quick. Dean, how's your night been, man?
Dude, it has been so good. As soon as I ended my stream, my mom texted me and she was like, I cooked you dinner. I'd love to come give it to you. And she's like a great chef. So she gave me this whole big thing of like great chicken gnocchi soup. And I went and bought us like a good bottle of wine and now I'm still sipping on it. So my night's been great, really calmed down greatly. Very bigly after 4 hours of like the most insane debates ever. The people I had on today were just like a different breed, Parker. They were nuts.
Dude, I'm sorry for that. That's actually brutal. I feel like well, actually, I just talked to them for like a really long time, to be totally honest. So I think I've only talked to like a few people today. I don't think I've talked to that many. I'm curious how long that last conversation was because I think it was like very, very long. But we're going to get on to the debates. Hopefully we'll have some decent debates here today real quick. Madeline, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's so cool. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Ashley, thank you for the 5 as well. Nikki, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 15. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Julia. Again, thank you for the 15. Danielle, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let me catch up on YouTube, and then we're going to go on to the debates real quick. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen to help get out some more people. Should get to 3,000 likes here on YouTube. And on TikTok, let's try to get to 1.5 million likes. I would really appreciate everyone. Rachel, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll make sure to go back and look. I think I did. I'll have to make sure to go back, though. I'll look. Catherine, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 20. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Cody, thank you so much for the 5. Johnny as well, thank you so much for the 20. I will, because it was cutting out the signal yesterday. I do think it was just overheating, actually. And then John, thank you for the 5. And then Green 4, thank you so much for the 5. Thank you. Alrighty, let's get the next person up here real quick. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Let's get the next person up here real quick. So give it 1 second, everybody. Alrighty. Let's get someone up here. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
44.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes, of course.
Okay, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Okay, why so?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, because I lean conservative and I typically vote for Republicans. Donald Trump was kind of the middle finger to the Republican Party because they always got elected, but they never did what they said they would do.
Okay, so can you give me like certain examples on like what they said they were going to do that they didn't do?
I mean, some of the typical things. If you want to debate some of the current stuff, I'd rather talk about some of that stuff. What do you have in mind?
I asked you an example and you didn't provide one. Would you like to provide an example?
Of the things that previous Republicans said they would do, but they didn't.
No, I said Democrats that you said that they didn't do. You said they
No, I
promised
said
things and they
Republicans.
didn't. Okay, so Republicans promise things and don't do them, and you support them because of them?
No, yeah, I don't think you heard what I said. Let me repeat.
Yeah, go ahead and clarify.
Yeah, sure. No, sorry about that. And first of all, thank you, Parker, for having me on. So I appreciate it. Yeah, so I lean conservative, so I vote Republican, right? Typically, most people vote the way that, two party lines. So Trump was to the middle finger to the Republican Party because Republicans generally said a bunch of things to get elected and they didn't follow through. So Trump was kind of like a middle finger, almost like a meme to the Republican Party.
Or Donald Trump was just, one of them again. I mean, he promised to release the Epstein files. Where the hell are they at? He promised to end Russia's invasion of Ukraine on day one. That didn't happen. He promised to drop the price of groceries so fast your head would spin 9 months into his term, and they've actually gone up. He promised to build a wall between America and Mexico, got less than 50 miles. And he promised to stick the payment for building that wall in Mexico. And guess what? It was actually just appropriated from the DoD budget. He also promised to push and pass an infrastructure bill. In his first administration, every week was infrastructure week. Couldn't get it done in 4 years. Then Biden got it done in his first in his first year. What else? I mean, there's just so many examples.
Can we pick one and talk about it?
Well, I mean, you could pick any of them. I mean, those.
No,
are
I'm asking you. You listed 20 of them. You want to talk about infrastructure? What infrastructure is improved?
Are you talking about like the individual infrastructure projects that have been funded by the infrastructure bill? I mean, you could look them up online. There's a long list.
Is this like is this like the high-speed train in California?
I'm unaware of the infrastructure bill funded the high-speed train in California.
No, but I'm talking
about the fact of the matter is
the
American Congress passed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that created more jobs, got more people paid, and helped to renew and rebuild the infrastructure. And I mean, there's many active.
But that's what you're missing the point, though. You said help rebuild the infrastructure. What infrastructure has been rebuilt?
I mean, I don't know any specific projects off.
But that's what I'm saying. So you can say you're funding all these projects.
Johnny, you're making a grave. Yeah, you're making a grave error here, Johnny. So just because I don't know the names of specific projects doesn't mean they don't exist.
No,
like, for instance, one moment.
Yeah, sure.
Parker's sitting in front of his computer right now. If Parker literally just types in infrastructure bill projects, I'm sure that there's a Wikipedia page.
You want me to sit here and look everything up? I mean, is we really going to do this?
I
can give you like the specific examples, like in terms.
No, but I
of,
mean,
like,
what's the point of that? I can sit here and look things up too on the internet. We can go back and forth.
I'm not even going to give you off the internet. I'm giving you off the top of my head.
Let
me. Can I list off the top of my head?
Sure.
So,
yeah, of course.
In terms of the top of my head, I'm talking about like the specific aspects that are part of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, right? Investments in roads and bridges and highways, right? And EV infrastructure for building up specifically like the different types of essentially charging in your vehicles, right, across the entire nation, right?
How many of those got built?
To this point, it's supposed to go through the context of 2030. I'd have to go and check specifically how much.
right. We'd have to look.
That's the thing. That's what I think you're missing my point, though. I understand all these things.
I'm saying that there are investments in these, and that people can tell this, and we can see that the investments are made for this, and it has to take time to go throughout. And the investments have already been made. And that's
why I brought up the high-speed rail in California, because
like many of these projects are like undergoing. Like if you literally look up like projects funded by the infrastructure bill, I'm sure you'll find a very.
Can I get a full thought out without being interrupted, please?
Well, I mean, we're just trying to answer the questions that you asked.
I know, but you're not winning.
I'm not trying to be like
more, please. Trust me, it will get me to interrupt you more. You can unmute. You have to go back into the app and unmute.
There you go. Why I wanted to make this point, because when I brought up California, the high-speed rail, is because it's years overdue. They spent billions. They're over budget, and the high-speed rail had never got built. And that's
why
the same
are you
thing
bringing up some local funding rather than talking about the national funding we were talking about from the bipartisan infrastructure bill? What a pivot!
What a pivot!
Yeah,
I brought up an example.
Seriously,
of how
you're talking about high-speed rail
finished.
in the context of California, rather than addressing the funding that we were just like talking about from a national level into the infrastructure.
See, you're not even
bill.
letting me finish my point.
Go ahead and try.
No, my point is that you can point to things that have been appropriated and funded, but they've never been completed.
What do you mean? You understand that they put the funding into it, and we can give you explicit examples that have already occurred. I can give you look up the infrastructurereportcard.org. It gives you a literal satellite thing where you can look through the context of the United States in Los Angeles, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, in Boise, Idaho, and San Antonio, and Austin, and Dallas, right? And cities across the entire United States. You can see all of the infrastructure projects.
And they're
Like,
finished.
there's an interactive map. And you
Are
can
they just
filter between
appropriated, or-
aviation, bridges, broadband, drinking water, hazardous waste, inland waterways, levees, ports, rail, reconnecting communities, roads, stormwater, transit, transportation, wastewater, and water. Like, you understand, there's a full report you can read. You can look at the interactive map of things across the entire nation. It was investments in infrastructure across the board.
And my point is that it's been appropriated, and yes, they're going through it, but they're not finished.
So just because they're not finished yet doesn't mean it hasn't been effective. It's not good policy. By the way, this is bipartisan, so I don't know why you're disagreeing with this and why you're acting like that's some sort of limitation with the investments that were made.
No, you brought it up as a point that was one of the achievements that Biden made.
Yes.
That's the
because
only
it was
reason I'm talking
passed.
about this.
It was passed under Biden. He
Okay,
influenced it to get passed, and it got passed under Biden. And it
So
takes
let's
time
move
for that
on.
funding to
I
go
don't
through.
think- Yeah, I understand. I don't think this is a topic that kind of really directs why I support Trump, though.
Okay, so tell us why you support Trump.
Why I support him now? Yeah, well, for one, let's talk about immigration. So I know we've talked about it a lot, but the border's secure now. So before there was 20,000 people coming across the border illegally, and now it's like zero.
Over what period of time?
Over a period of time, what is it, like a week?
Do you think 20,000 people were coming in a week?
What are the numbers? I mean, you look it up. The stats are right there. You're on your computer.
I mean, well, we can look that up, but like the point that I would bring up that's relevant is that I think that anyone who's in the country who hasn't committed a violent crime or bad crime should be given a pathway to citizenship, because I think that higher scale levels of immigration, up to 1 to 3% population growth, is actually very important for the economic growth of our country.
Okay.
And I have a question.
Okay.
What good policy did Donald Trump pass that effectively reduced undocumented entry into this country in the long term?
He didn't. He just enforced the laws that were in the book.
Which ones?
What, immigration laws? Like breaking into our country is
So
a
what
crime?
laws did he
Deporting them?
really enforce to just significantly reduce the undocumented entry that existed?
What I mean, the immigration laws about deporting people, stopping people at the border,
Those
So
laws
you're
were
saying
being enforced
stopping
prior.
people at the
actually
border.
enforcing them.
So is there anything new or different, like legislatively wise, that he's done in the last 8 months to significantly reduce undocumented entry?
I mean, no, because Congress hasn't voted on anything.
Exactly. Here's my claim. Donald Trump didn't reduce undocumented entry with any good policy, any good legislation. I mean, shit.
No,
you
he
really
enforced
would-
that. I never claimed that.
Johnny, you're going to have to let me finish. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
So he hasn't reduced undocumented entry with any good policy or any implementation of legislation. He's reduced undocumented entry by scaring it away, by being a fascist and violating both the human and constitutional rights of the immigrants that are already in this country, right? Immigrants, regardless if it's documented or undocumented, come into America for better quality of life, okay? When we have a fascist in charge that is infringing, like, for instance, on like the right to due process of undocumented immigrants and deporting hundreds of Venezuelan immigrants to CCOT, a literal torture prison for terrorists in El Salvador without due process, that's going to scare that entry away. When he's
Why do you-
illegally deporting Abrigo Garcia, violating the Constitution, sending him to CCOT where he's beaten, tortured, and starved for 3 months, even though SCOTUS ruled that he has to come home and Trump's White House said no, 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 that's going to scare that entry away. All right, when they're black bagging college students in plain clothes with masks on their face and not identifying themselves, and then taking them to detention centers 1,000 miles away, violating the withholding order of judges forbidding their removal outside of a circle of 45 miles, that's going to scare that entry away. When they're taking people like Mahmoud Khalil, a legal green card holder, and holding him in a detention center for 3 months without due process, that's going to scare that entry away. But that's bad, right? Not only because we're breaking the law, not only because we're encroaching on human rights, but also because it's short term. The moment that we have a president that's not a total fucking fascist, that loves disorder, chaos, and breaking the law, that incentive structure is going to reverse, right? So that's really why you should not support, right, the fact that border crossings have dropped such a significant amount under Donald Trump's second term, because the ways in which he's been able to achieve that goal are incredibly short term and incredibly immoral.
Under SCOTUS with Clinton, didn't they say that you didn't need due process to deport somebody because it wasn't considered a a punishment?
No, you're wrong. So you're talking about expedited removal or limited due process. So from Clinton until 2020, that was contested, okay? Right? A lot of people on the left argued that that infringed on the due process and the right to due process that undocumented immigrants have. And ultimately, it made its way to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS ruled that yes, undocumented immigrants do have due process. Yes, undocumented immigrants need due process before they're deported, but expedited removal is still granting them that right to due process. And that's just legally speaking. I disagree with expedited removal, but constitutionally speaking, according to SCOTUS, they still technically get it when they're removed through expedited removal.
Okay, so how is that not what Trump's doing?
Well, because it's not even that he's granting them, for instance, expedited removal. We've had federal judges rule that there's no due process at all. I mean, we even had a ruling from SCOTUS that
Okay.
a group of Venezuelan immigrants in northern Texas, and he was only giving them a 24-hour heads up before putting them on a plane and sending them to CCOT, and he was giving them no due process at all. I mean, you know, that we've seen that a lot, right? And that's obviously very bad. It's infringing on the Constitution, and Donald Trump doesn't care. I mean, that's not the only time he's infringed on the Constitution. Day one, he tried to take birthright citizenship away from the children of undocumented immigrants
Stay on topic.
soil. Oh, I'm staying on topic. I'm just expanding on this thought about how Donald Trump doesn't care about undocumented immigrants, doesn't care about their constitutional rights, which in turn sets a very dangerous precedent for the future of this country, where we no longer have a president that wants to play by the rules, but rather a wannabe totalitarian dictator that wants to set them, and he doesn't really care about what already exists on the books.
Well, I mean, you can't be in this country illegally. Can we agree on that?
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact that undocumented entry is illegal and is classified as a federal misdemeanor is completely unconcerned to Donald Trump's attack on the constitutional rights of undocumented
It's only a misdemeanor if you overstay your visa, not if you cross the border.
Crossing the border, I think it's 8 U.S.C. Code 1385. I'm probably wrong. That's what undocumented entry is. It's prosecuted as a misdemeanor and has been for the last 50 years.
Maybe I'm confused. The other one's like civil penalty, right? If you overstay.
Yes, that's a civil penalty.
Yep.
Undocumented entry is, for the most part, in many scenarios, not in all scenarios, many scenarios, prosecuted criminally, but it's prosecuted as a criminal misdemeanor.
Got you. So your point is just the due process, even though you don't like the expedited removal, and you think that Trump doesn't give them expedited removal, correct?
Well, it's not that I think that. It's that we've had judges rule that.
Well, federal judges have ruled on a bunch of things, been overturned at SCOTUS, so you can't just say because a federal judge rules on something that's fact.
Okay, well, actually, yes, you can until it's overturned or appealed, but these circumstances haven't been overturned. They haven't been appealed. And plus, we've even seen rulings from SCOTUS that, once again, he's been attempting to deport people without due process, such as the Venezuelan immigrants in northern Texas in late April.
So I understand. So Democrats' policy is we can just let everybody in the country and we can operate fine.
Well, I mean, quite a pivot. I mean, I understand that you're losing on this topic of Donald Trump's abrasive demeanor towards deportation and breaking the law, which makes you a hypocrite. Because when an undocumented immigrant breaks the law, get him out. When Donald Trump commits 34 felonies, is adjudicated to have raped a woman, lies about the value of his properties, conceals classified documents, and
stay on immigration,
infringe on the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 22nd Amendment, and breaks laws about 1 billion times with the detention of undocumented immigrants and their removal. You're like, make him president. Make it make sense, man. Huge total mess of contradictions and disingenuousness. I mean, anti-intellectualism at its finest.
No, not at all. I just disagree with your opinion that one federal judge rules something and that's how it's going to be. It's going to be overturned.
Okay, well then why do you accept a federal judge's ruling on an undocumented immigrant being an undocumented immigrant? What now? Yeah, courts have to rule that before they're removed. You trust their rulings. Most of them aren't even federal judges. Jesus Christ, dude, think before you speak, please.
Okay, can we move on?
Sure. Do you have any other reason why you support Trump?
Yeah, I was saying because of immigration. I thought we were going to continue the immigration talk.
Okay, so what about immigration?
So I'm saying this country
Actually, I can
can't
ask you
take.
this question. Could you name
Sure.
one way in which mass immigration harms our economy or our society as a whole?
Mass immigration.
Yeah.
Define mass immigration.
Higher scale legal immigration than what we currently have.
So we currently take in what 2 million a year.
I think it's a bit over one.
I think it's closer to like 2.1. But sure.
Now, sure, if that's the case, I think that it's fine to take more.
Yeah, I agree. If we take legal immigrants that come in, go through the process, I'm actually a second generation immigrant. My wife's an immigrant. I am pro immigrant.
Okay, so do you want to make the
I
legal
just
immigration process go quicker?
Yes, oh definitely. If we can make that a process that was like a 3 month process instead of like a 10-year process, I would be all for it.
Okay, so given that it's a multiple year process currently, what would you agree with providing a pathway to citizenship that for people who are in the country who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, who have come into the country and documented?
I would prefer they left and came back legally
What's
and
the
they got
point of doing
preferential
that? I feel
treatment.
like that's a huge waste of resources to get them to fly them out of the country so that they have to come back through the same process when they wouldn't have been restricted anyway because they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime.
Well, I understand, but they still broke the law and they're
So,
also skipping the line.
if you want to hold people accountable for committing crimes, you would have not voted for Donald Trump because that ensured that he was not held accountable for the crimes that he committed.
Okay,
The
back to immigration.
felonies?
Back to immigration. So if somebody skips the line, you think that's okay?
I think that they're not even going in the line in the first place. I think it's okay given the
Exactly.
fact, yeah, which
There's
I
there's a
think
lot
is,
of people that are,
I think if someone came to the country and documented that they shouldn't be punished because it is the case that the current immigration process and our laws don't make sense. They're not legitimate rules. It takes too long to get into the country and costs way too much to get into the country. So I wouldn't punish them if they have not
and you
committed
think
a
that's
violent
Trump's
crime or
fault?
bad crime. And I think that's
You
okay.
think that's
There are
Trump's
plenty of
fault?
crimes on the books specifically that are not enforced, right? Do you
You,
think that we
you
have to
think that's
enforce
Trump's
every
fault?
law?
You think the immigration policies currently are Trump's fault?
Yes, because he advocates for them. He wants to enforce those current immigration laws, is which is
Wait a minute.
exactly what you just
Didn't
said.
Dan
So
just say
yes,
that
that
Trump
is
would put in no new
the issue.
policies?
What's up?
Didn't Dan just argue that Trump put in no new policies for immigration?
It's about the laws that he's enforcing, right?
Agreed. But he didn't make those laws. He wouldn't sign those laws. Those were signed under previous presidents, including
Yeah, I'm
Democrats.
talking about my distinction in views versus them, right? Versus
Yeah, I
Dean.
get
Like
that.
it's my view distinct from Dean, or not Dean, from Trump. Fuck.
No
I
worries.
read Dan in the chat because you called him Dan.
No, you're good. Sorry. No, I understand your position. I think we have a lot of agreement here because I think we need to improve the process. And I can see your point. I can see your point about the empathy with people that are here and have not committed crimes. And if it came to that, I would be okay.
Okay, so then like
But that
it
wouldn't
seems like
be something I
you're
advocated for.
I mean, the Democratic view, it seems like you agree with it. I mean, they want to deport people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, right? And they want
Yeah,
to
I
make the
agree.
legal process go quicker. It seems like you agree with that perspective. So why is this a reason why you support Trump?
Because I think the border needed shutting down, and I think the laws that are on the books need enforced until they're changed. You can't just have you
No,
can't
I
just say
disagree.
listen. Wait a minute. You can't just have laws on the books and say I don't like them, so I'm not going to enforce them.
Really? So
You
what
have
app
laws
are
on
you
the
on
books.
currently? What app are you on
We have
currently?
we have a democratic process now.
Well, no, what app are you on currently?
Yeah, is it
What?
banned?
Yes.
It's
This
not
app
banned.
is literally banned and it's just not
It's
being
banned in
enforced.
China.
No, it's banned in the United States. It's
No, it's
banned in the
not.
United States, and it's just
I
not
downloaded it.
and it's just not being enforced to be banned by the Trump administration. Trump literally instructed his attorney general to not enforce said ban. You're currently
Why they
using an
litigate it?
app in which that particular reasoning applies to.
And there's still litigation going on for that.
They still have not yet fully done the deal, so it's
Right.
still currently banned.
But there's litigation in process.
But it again, for the entirety of the administration so far, it's been banned, and it literally is just not being enforced. So
And you
the
think
fines
that
are not being enforced.
You think that's apples to apples? The immigration laws has been on the books for how long?
I mean, you said that there aren't any laws on the books that we just aren't enforcing, and it makes no sense that we have
No, I
laws on the
said.
books that we
I
just
said.
aren't
Do you think
enforcing.
that's a good?
Wait, you don't think it makes
that's a good
sense to have
thing?
laws on the books that we aren't enforcing? Donald Trump
no,
was
no,
charged with
that's not what I said.
one moment. Donald Trump was charged and found guilty of 34 counts of falsification of business records in the first
Can
degree.
we stay on immigration?
And that violation of the law wasn't enforced because he was given a sentence of
stay on immigration?
nothing due to the fact that he was made president by you. You actively voted for and support
stay on
a system
immigration?
that, well, if you want to stay on immigration, it's because I'm going to
Yeah, I mean, if you want to
through
jump
an
topics
analogy.
every other topic, we're not
Johnny,
gonna
listen,
move
there's
on.
something I
If we
need
stay
to
on
teach
one
you.
topic and
Just
we can find some
because,
agreement on.
just because I'm not
Why can't we stay on this one topic? I think we're finding some agreement here.
Okay. Well,
We're
thank
done.
you. Thank you for voicing your opinion. I am on the same topic on a conceptual level, okay? Because what you just said, and I would like to respond to it, is that you think all the laws on the books should be enforced, and it wouldn't make sense for a law to be on the books and not be enforced. However, the only reason why the 34 felonies, the law on the book that Donald Trump broke, were not enforced against him is because he was made president and the judge didn't want to sentence a current sitting president with jail time. Therefore, he was given no sentence, meaning those laws that he broke were not enforced in the circumstance. Now, you voted for
That's your
it.
opinion.
You wanted that,
Yeah.
and those are the facts.
No, that's not the facts.
What did I say that was an opinion?
Why it's not being enforced?
What other reason would there be? The reason why he was given no sentence is because by the time sentencing came around, he was already president, and the judge didn't want to send a sitting president to jail, right? Because that would be havoc for the country.
Actually, it probably would fall under, he would have, what, immunity at that point because he was president. It probably wouldn't happen because of the
No,
SCOTUS
the
ruling.
immunity comes in is when you commit the crimes, all right? And he committed the crimes before he was president in 2017.
Yeah.
So what other reason would there be that he was given literally no sentence? Obviously, it's because he became president, and the judge didn't want to send the sitting president to jail because that would have been terrible for the country.
Probably for the way that it all rolled out, I would think they would have lost in appeal.
It's already been appealed, and Trump lost the appeal.
It hasn't been appealed to the Supreme Court.
Dude, not everything needs to be appealed at the Supreme Court.
I'm just saying it could be. I mean, there's still an appeal option there.
Okay, well, listen. There's also until like 3 days ago, there was an appeal option for Alex Jones to be heard at the Supreme Court. Do you think he was guilty like years ago when he was ordered to pay like over $1 billion to the victims of Sandy Hook for his lies?
I think that's a little bit different than this case.
Dude, no, it's not different in the sense
It
that
is
that
because
hadn't been to the Supreme Court yet.
there's been no other person charged with the crimes in the way that happened with the 34 felonies. It's never happened.
So that law, it's been a Class C felony on the books in New York forever. He's already appealed it. The appeal was
The
rejected.
statute of limitations.
Wait, actually,
and they had to come up with
I'm
another
not actually
law
sure
to
that
charge him.
I don't even know if like it was already rejected. So I mean, it wasn't like pushed up to a higher court. It was just rejected outright. Like, I'm so sorry, man. I think that you need to stop fucking coping. You can't just say if it doesn't hit SCOTUS, then it doesn't matter. You understand that 99.99999% of court cases ever never see SCOTUS. Like, for instance, was Jeffrey Dahmer really guilty? I guess you don't know because his court case never went in front of SCOTUS.
I never said that. I never said it didn't matter. I said there was an appeal option still available.
All right, but the appeal option has already been exhausted in federal courts, state courts, and circuit courts. All appeals have been denied. So at this point, if you want to suggest that he could still win on an appeal in front of SCOTUS, I would simply ask for your legal president to argue that.
No, I said that's why they didn't press it.
Do you have a legal argument that his case should be appealed? If so, what is it?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Do you have a legal argument that his case should be appealed by SCOTUS? If so, what is it? Because if you don't, I'm not going to take this argument seriously since it has already been shot down by state court and a federal court.
Nope, we can't hear you, man. What happened to his mic?
Dude, who are these people?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
We hear you now, man.
Yeah, I was saying no other person's been charged in the same way he was charged for those crimes.
Okay, how do you know that? Just out of curiosity.
It's because the way the laws were, he was already over the statute of limitations for those 34 laws. They had to
No, he
change
wasn't.
what a policy. Yeah, he was.
No, what was the statute of limitations on those laws?
Are you look it up?
You're
No,
confusing.
I'm asking you. What was the statute
Yeah, you're
of
confusing
limitations?
his
You just said
felony
it doesn't
case
meet
with
that.
the civil case.
What do you mean it doesn't need that?
You said it doesn't meet that. It's within the context of the statute of limitations. So can you tell me, what is the statute of limitations for that specific crime?
I don't know the exact year, the number, but I know it was over.
And how do you know he's over, out of curiosity?
Because the way they had to charge him, they had to get a secondary crime.
Oh, no, so you're talking about what was required in order for it to be a Class C felony, which it was, because he committed that Class C felony. Like, what does this mean, and how does this inform you that there was something to do with the statute of limitations here?
Yeah. What's that?
Okay, so he was charged with a crime that he committed. What about like him being charged with a crime
that nobody reported? But
one moment, Johnny, stop it. So how is Donald Trump being charged with a crime he committed tell you that nobody else has ever been charged with this crime? I feel like this is an absolutely terrible argument.
Because there's been nobody else.
And how do you know that?
Research on it.
How do you know that?
Because I've done the research. There's nobody else.
Well,
How can I prove a negative? How do I prove a negative?
Okay, well, ask yourself that, because you're the one trying to do it.
No, I'm telling. So name me one other person. Name me one other person that's been charged the same way.
Okay, well, now you're committing a fallacy. I can't name anybody else that's been
Well,
charged.
there you go.
Can you name one person that's been? One moment.
You can't prove a negative either. Good job.
Can you name one person that's been charged with murder in New Jersey?
So that has nothing to do with this conversation.
Oh, I guess nobody's ever been charged with murder in New Jersey, huh, Johnny?
You brought up the point.
Do you see how stupid your argument is now?
No, I said
you don't
that
see
no
that?
one's
Well,
been charged the same way as felonies, and you said that's not.
New Jersey. You don't see
no
that?
one's been charged the same way as felonies.
Dean, you can't name anybody else that's been charged with this Class C felony in the state of New York. Well, because you can't name anybody that's ever been charged with murder in New Jersey, therefore there's never been anybody that is murdered in New Jersey. You see how that logic just simply doesn't track? Insofar as my inability to give you an example doesn't mean that no exampple exist. I just simply don't have knowledge of them.
That's fine.
All right, so then what's your argument?
You're asking me to prove a negative.
Charged with this crime.
And I'm just showing you can't prove a negative.
Wait, then you're telling me that you can't prove that. So then why do you believe in things that can't be proven?
Nobody could prove a negative because
so then why do you believe in things that can't be proven?
That's why I'm asking you. If you think it exists, why can't you tell me why?
Then why do you believe in things that can't be proven?
I'm telling you, I've done the research, and there's nobody else has been charged that way. And you say there has, or I don't know.
Sure. What research have you done? Are you just saying because you can't find anybody else that has been charged that way, therefore nobody else has?
If I can't find anybody else, if you know somebody else, that's why I'm asking. Do you know anybody else that's been charged that way?
Exactly. And I've already demonstrated the issue with this argument.
So,
no, I don't.
So you can't prove the opposite, but you want me to prove a negative.
No, this is the issue with your argument. Because what you are saying is because I can't name anybody else that has been charged with the same crime he has in New York, that therefore nobody has. Do you see the parallel to the argument that I gave against you, how you can't name anybody that's ever been charged with murder in New Jersey, must mean, according to your logic, that therefore nobody has been charged with murder in New Jersey. What you're doing
I can look at statistics.
What you're doing is you're taking a hyper-specific crime that has been on the books for ages that Donald Trump committed, that he was found guilty of by a unanimous jury of 12 inside of a criminal court in New York, and you're attempting to say that, well, this was invalid because nobody else has ever been charged with it. Then your argument that nobody else has ever been charged with it is that I can't name anybody else that has been charged with it, but I've already given you really good reason to demonstrate why that's a bad argument. Not to mention, that's not a legal argument, okay, right? Even if Donald Trump is the only person that has ever been charged with this law that has been on the books forever and still is today, then that doesn't mean that therefore he's innocent. It means that he is like the only person that has broke that law, which is not like a legal argument in defense of his innocence.
I also said charged in the way he was.
Let me get him on track here, because I just want to be clear. All we're trying to demonstrate to you is that there's some laws on the books that it makes sense to not enforce. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's all we're saying. And like in the context of immigration, for people who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, we're saying it doesn't make sense specifically to enforce the law to say that they should be kicked out of the country.
You don't think that the immigration law where somebody is here illegally, we should enforce that they should have to go?
If someone is in the country and documented they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, I do not think that they should be kicked out of the country. They should be given a pathway to citizenship.
We just disagree.
I understand we disagree, but like, why? Like, how did they harm our country?
Because they're here legally? You're conflating
that doesn't harm our country. You just said that they violated the law. Well, currently, the providers for TikTok are doing that right now, too. So why are you using their app?
Like I said, there's still litigation going on for that, but I understand.
It's currently illegal.
That's fine. No, I can understand.
You said as the laws are, they are on the books this certain way. Even though there's appeals about immigration.
That's a little bit hypocritical.
Also,
Yeah,
by the way, you
I'll
said
admit that.
there's ongoing litigation about the TikTok ban. No, there isn't. SCOTUS made their ruling like almost a year ago.
There's still ongoing things in play to be able to make
There's
it legal.
ongoing contracts. That's what I thought
There
he
you
was
go.
referencing.
Thank you. Okay, my bad. Semantics. Cool. Got you. And yeah, I agree. It's a little bit hypocritical, but at the same time, that's why I'm, justifying that. But sure. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. And if that was the law and they said that they could stay here, I would be okay with that. I just wouldn't advocate for that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, no. Okay, so no, I guess how do they harm the country? People who are in the country undocumented who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime. How would it harm the country to do what I'm doing? Like, how is what I'm arguing for bad? Like, why do you?
No, I
disagree
think
with it?
no, I don't think there's harm in them being here, because that would be a harm. That would be saying, like, I don't think the immigrants being here would be bad. It's almost the same thing, right? But the point is that I think they broke a law and they need to either go out and come back in legally, like a legal process. There needs some kind of process. And the way it is currently is they would have to leave and come back.
Wait, no. Again, what I'm saying is they should just be given that process without having to leave.
Yeah, I just disagree.
And why? Like, I'm asking you why you disagree with that perspective. Like,
Because
what about my perspective would harm us as a country?
Yeah,
No, I
when
don't
Johnny,
think there's harm. So I don't believe there's harm there. That's what I'm saying.
Johnny, when we like compare and contrast the two views here, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
sure.
you just be like absorbently like more costly to the country, right? Like not only would we have to fund the mass deportation, but then we'd also have to fund like the systems to give them entry, and we'd have to suffer the opportunity cost of like losing 8.3 million of our laborers and 11 million of our consumers, which according to the American Immigration Council is around 1.1 through 1.7 trillion dollars of our GDP per year. So like obviously like Parker's plan here, just economically speaking, is going to make significantly more sense because we wouldn't have to incur the cost of the deportation. Our government would continue to have their like the taxable revenue paid by them, as well as like the massive GDP contributions.
I understand your point. What I'm saying is that, well, if you go after all the criminals, right, we're still deporting people. And the low number is 20 million, right? So we're still going to be deporting people. I don't think we're going to save money, even if even if you say we're only going after violent criminals. I don't think that we're going to save money is a valid point, because I don't think we'll ever run out of the violent criminals that are undocumented immigrants here. Maybe so.
What?
But I don't think
Nobody understands.
We're going to save money. One, because there's going to be more tax revenues in the long term that we're going to specifically keep, right? Because people are staying in the country and they're paying more in taxes.
No, I'm saying we're
given a
still
legal
deporting
pathway,
people that are here
along
legally.
with the idea that we're not spending money on deportations.
No, what I'm saying is, if we still go after just violent criminals, because you agree with that, we should deport all the undocumented people who've committed a heinous or violent crime, right?
Yeah.
So we're still going to be deporting people.
Yeah, no one has an issue with that.
So how much difference would it be? I mean, I think there's enough violent criminals here, even if we just go after them right
No,
now.
most of the people being deported do not have that particular criminal history.
I understand that. I didn't say that.
So that's what
I
we're
agree.
saying, is that like essentially we think most people who are being deported shouldn't be deported.
I do think we should go after the violent criminals first.
I mean,
But
it
if
makes
somebody
no sense,
gets
right? Like,
somebody gets wrapped up,
law enforcement will
middle?
have more time to focus on people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes if we provide the pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who have not committed a violent crime and bad crime. Because they're not
if I
going to
go to a
focus on
business-
deporting people who have
I
not
understand.
committed violent crimes and bad crimes.
but if I go to a business and there's 20 undocumented immigrants there and one of them commit a violent crime, I'm taking all of them.
Why?
I mean, that's the way the rules are right now. That's the way
That's
it's
not
set up,
how
and
it
that's the way
should be,
they do it.
though. That's not how it
Well,
should
I
be.
understand that. If you want to argue that, that's fine. But I'm just saying that's how it's happening.
Okay, well, I want it to be clear. We're not debating what's happening. We're debating if we support what's happening.
Okay, but agreed, and I understand that. I'm just, you don't want you want just one violent criminal to be deported and not the rest of them that are there illegally, even though they've committed a crime.
Yes, because they should be given a pathway to residency or citizenship, because deporting them, only hurts us, and only hurts the country.
But the way the current immigration laws are, they all go.
Okay, right. Once again, we're not debating what is, we're debating what should be.
Well, I kind of agree with the current laws, though.
Okay, so then why do you agree that it should be the case all undocumented immigrants are deported from the country? In fact, I'll just ask you this question. Can you name one way that mass deportation would materially benefit this country? One pro.
Oh no, I don't think that. See, you went back to harm too. I didn't think it would harm things for them to stay here. I don't think harm's the word,
Oh,
and I
wait,
don't think it would actually.
that's not what I
You
asked
know,
you. I asked you to
the only
identify
way, the only way to
one
benefit
good outcome of mass deportation on the country. Can you name one?
because we're actually enforcing our laws.
Okay, just enforcing the law on its own is good. So do you think that there was some level of goodness generated when cops would like kick black individuals out of white-owned businesses during Jim Crow era segregation since they were enforcing the law? Was there some level
And
of
that was a
good
Democrat
generated there
policy.
in virtue of enforcing the law?
No, and that was a Democrat policy.
Okay, so then just merely enforcing the law on its own doesn't generate any level of good.
And I like he brought up conservative Democrats, like if that was an own.
Right, right. Yeah, that was
No, but
conservative.
I like how you went to the Jim Crow laws in black and white. We were talking about immigration when we were talking about that. So if you
No,
want
I
to
mean,
go
Johnny,
to
I'm
that,
so sorry that you couldn't track a very simple analogy. I'll just recap it for you. So you told me one positive of mass deportation is just enforcing the law. So what that means in your mind is that without any other information whatsoever, just merely enforcing the law generates some positive utility for the country. This would mean, right, when cops would, like kick black individuals out of white-owned businesses during Jim Crow era segregation,
yeah, I don't think that
enforcing the
conflates
law,
though.
therefore, that'd be generating some like positive utility for the country, right?
That's
However,
not-
you disputed that. You said no, which means merely in a vacuum enforcing the law doesn't generate any positive utility for the country unless when you are enforcing the law and what you are actually doing is good via the outcomes that it generates in consequence, right? And I think what like I'm arguing, what Parker believes in, is that like the actual consequences of mass deportation are only bad, right?
Yeah,
Economic.
but you're bringing up an unjust law to say to compare apples to apples to a law that's not
Actually,
unjust.
so Jim Crow era segregation was unjust because it only hurt people. Okay, mass deportation is unjust because it only hurts people. Right? I can tell you
I
how. If you want to
disagree.
argue.
How does taking somebody and removing them from this country when they're here illegal, sending them back to their home country, how does that hurt them?
You got well. How does it hurt them? That one should be obvious.
Well, they would they prefer? Which would they prefer? Would they
Yeah.
prefer to
I'm not
be
talking about
deported, or would they
asylum seekers.
prefer
I'm
to
talking
stay in the
about people-
country?
Yeah, like that one.
So-
That one should be obvious, right? It would hurt them because it's not what they want. It's against their
Well,
desires.
there's a lot
it's
of things that
against
you
their
want.
interests.
It's not you don't get that just because you don't get something you want means you're
Okay,
hurt.
okay, but listen,
We want them to
matter
have
of the
that.
fact of a
We will-
conflict of. a
I
conflict
want
of
them to
interest.
have that legally. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
but
you're
they-
not even.
Listen to Dean real quick.
Listen, all I'm trying to say here is you can't name one singular way that mass
I
deportation.
did.
No, you didn't, Johnny. I already pointed out the issue with you calling and enforcing.
Yeah,
the
you
law
pointed to
on
an
its own
unjust
good.
law, not a. Okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so basically you're okay. Well, if your logic is, well, it's not always good to enforce the law when the law is unjust, go ahead and give an argument that mass deportation is just by telling me one good outcome it generates.
Like I said, it's enforcing the laws and having a justice system where we enforce.
Okay,
the
so
laws.
therefore a law is just because you enforce it. What kind of argument is that? All of a sudden, Jim
No, I
Crow
understand it's circular.
segregation was just
I
because
get
you
your
enforced
circular
it.
point there.
Right, your argument is circular, right?
I
So-
get it.
So then name like one positive outcome of mass deportation outside of the quote unquote law being enforced.
I think having a process where people can sign up to come into the country and not have to wait for years because somebody cuts in front of you.
Wait, so-
Mass
wait,
deportation won't reduce wait times, it increase them. Go ahead, Parker.
Yeah. Also,
Well,
like
if we-
literally, people who are coming to the country undocumented, they're not making the line longer because they never went through the line.
Yes and no. We can't have so
Like,
many
wait, no.
undocumented.
Think about it this
So-
way: if they went through the line rather than not going through the line, they would have made it worse off. They would have caused
we've
it
already-
to be.
we've
So
already said we
actually,
want
they're
increased
they're
legal
helping other
immigration.
people because they're not going through the line. So they're making the line shorter than what it would have been
But you want to make
otherwise.
them legal. But you want to make them legal and jump the line.
Okay, so again, in this context, yes, I would like to provide pathway to citizenship for everyone specifically who's coming to the country through the current legal pathway through the to citizenship, and also who have been in the country undocumented who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime. You understand that everyone in that context is going to be able to, who specifically, there's not going to be unfair notion here because everyone's going to get this who is trying to come into the country, who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime and meet that criteria because we're going to make it quicker. We're going to make the
Let
legal
me ask
process
you.
quicker.
So how do you disincentivize being here illegally if you do that?
Because you incentivize people to go through the legal process because you make
Why?
it quicker.
If you make it quicker. So you
Yes.
agreed. If you change the immigration laws currently that are on the books, and then you do that where you say that the people that are here illegally can go through a pathway, that would be the only way that would be acceptable.
Dude, that's actually what I believe.
Yeah,
Dude, that's crazy
Did
because
you
that's
just say
exactly
that
what
you
I think.
agree with our position.
Yeah,
I
that's
would
like
advocate
Johnny.
for it.
That's crazy because that's actually my position. I think that
Yeah.
mass amnesty is only one part of a more nuanced plan. Where not only are we offering undocumented immigrants a pathway to residency or citizenship, but we're also actively updating the immigration laws on the books to make legal entry significantly more attainable.
But you have to enforce the laws that for like the southern border and close it, right?
No.
Well, I mean, I'm actually not.
What do you mean
sure.
no?
I'm
So
actually
then
not.
how do you disincentivize coming here illegally if you're not?
Listen,
gonna
I'm
close
actually
the border?
I'm actually not too sure that like if we were to make like the legal means of entry into this country like significantly attainable, that like there would be anybody that would like want to enter into the country as an undocumented immigrant outside of like individuals that wouldn't qualify for the legal means of entry, like those with like prior violent offenses, criminal offenses, so on and so forth. So if we like ever legitimately got to that point where legal entry was so attainable and the only individuals that wouldn't want legal entry and would rather opt for undocumented entry would be those that wouldn't qualify, like violent criminals, so on and so forth, yeah, then it'd be okay with like pretty tough like southern border like crackdowns, right? But I think that we need to get to that point first and fix the issue, because I'm not okay with cracking down on like innocent mothers and fathers that just want to create a better life for them and their family, and in turn also generating better outcomes for the country as a whole.
That sounds great on paper.
Wait, no, that is great.
No,
You agree with the position. That's what
But listen,
you
no.
admit you agree with the position.
Dude, yeah, the
I don't
position
agree
is
with.
great. It is.
I don't agree with
It's
that
common
position where
sense.
you completely open the borders and let anybody come here willy nilly. Yeah, so how many people do you think
This isn't open
American-
borders. We're still saying
No.
that there is restrictions.
But I just said enforce the borders on the southern border, and you guys were like, no, that's not what we're saying.
You're not. You're
Can you
misunderstanding.
clarify?
You're
Can you clar-
misunderstanding.
okay, that's
we agree
fine.
with
Maybe I did.
enforcing it with situations where they have committed violent crimes or bad crimes, but in situations where they have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, then they should not be.
Okay. So open borders for anybody that has never committed a crime. That what you're saying?
I mean, up to a certain threshold of people, yes.
Yeah,
So
so
how many people-
and I just want to clarify on this point
Sure.
that certain threshold of people is like merely a hypothetical right now. Immigration into America from the conception of
Yeah, that's where I
America
was going
until
next.
now has only been beneficial, right? Sure, like there's some hypothetical limit where the
What is that
immigration
limit?
would no longer be beneficial and then would turn to like hurting the country. But like
We don't
no
know,
one
actually.
knows what that
What would
limit
it be?
is because it's never been reached.
We have a housing crisis right now.
And
That was
actually,
not caused by
undocumented
immigration.
immigrants.
How is
Undocumented
it
immigrants
not?
help the housing crisis. I can tell you how.
Okay,
They're-
so
listen,
let me
Johnny,
ask you this,
Johnny,
If
no,
you
I
added 20
want to inform you on something. Undocumented immigrants help the housing crisis because they're more likely to actively participate. I'll tell you, they're more likely to actively participate in the supply side of the housing market.
I got
One
you.
out of-
That's
one moment.
cheeky. That's cute.
One out of every 7 construction workers in this country is an undocumented immigrant, and they're less likely to participate in the demand side of the housing market since undocumented immigrants can't get loans because they don't have a social security number, and like most individuals that rent out properties will not rent to undocumented immigrants, considering the fact once again that they don't have social security numbers nor like credit scores in like most states, right? So actually, undocumented immigrants apply a downward pressure on the pricing of houses. You want to know who applies an upward pressure? Mr. Trump with his tariffs on Canadian lumber or Mexican steel and
Stay on
power.
immigration. So you don't think immigrants would all affect the housing crisis?
Well, I mean, as it stands right now, undocumented immigrants are good for the housing crisis.
Yeah. So the
Really?
idea that immigrants
you
are
believe?
bad for the housing crisis is a ridiculous notion. Think of it this way.
Well, I think having 40 million
If you-
people that are here
no, listen to this.
undocumented
If you
increases.
answer this question. If you increase the population, does it make the housing crisis worse?
Yes.
Okay. So then do you think it's an issue for people to have children?
People to have children, if they're living in the same house, you already have a house. That's done already. That was not a big. Come up with something else.
No.
Response. Eventually, they're going to
so
grow
you said
up,
an
right?
increased population. Yeah, increased population leads to more people demanding houses. When you have children, inevitably in the future, they buy houses themselves.
I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about right now, the current crisis. In 10 years, we
But
can
you
build
understand
more
that,
houses.
that's the point I was making, is that they grow up.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
I
let's
understand what
just
you're
replace,
saying,
like having a
but
kid
you're
and
also
taking
not-
a kid like
you're also
turning
not-
18 and moving out.
You're also not factoring in if you have a kid now, you have 18 years where we have to have a house for them. We can build houses in 18 years. We can't build houses right now for the people we have in our country.
Yes, we can. What are you talking? We don't have the ability to build
We have
houses?
a housing.
What are you
We
talking
have a
about?
housing deficit right now.
Because our government is not investing in the building of houses to the degree that we need.
Agreed.
Okay, and that's because of the Trump administration, because of the fact that they're imposing tariffs to an extremely greater extent, because they're not willing
But
to
you're
advocate for the tax credits that Kamala Harris is advocating for in terms of the
but you
stimulation of building houses in places where people want to live.
but having 40 million people here that shouldn't be is affecting the
What
deficit
do
of
you mean
housing.
40 million? Where the hell did you get this fucking number
It's
from?
20 to 40 million. That's what the number is. You can go look. Yeah,
Where
it's,
did
it's
you
20
get
to
the
40.
40
Let's
million
go with the
number
low number,
from?
20. Yeah, it's
That
out
was
there.
a huge move of the goalpost, by the way.
According
you
to
want me
the
to use
American
20?
Immigration Council, one moment. According to the American Immigration Council, it's 11 million. Just thought I'd let you know.
That's a really low number.
Okay, well, that's what the American Immigration Council says. You said it's 40 million, so what's the current population? Like 300 million?
I've heard from 20 to 40. I was using a high number to be hyperbolic.
He thinks like 10% of the population are undocumented immigrants.
Well, I mean, like 40 million.
Yeah, especially in California, it's probably close to 10%. But anyways, let's go with the 20. Let's go with 11 million. 11 million houses in the United States. If you remove those 11 million people that should not be here, it would improve that deficit.
No,
right?
because you're thinking one-dimensionally. You're only
I'm not.
accounting. Yes, you are. You're only accounting for the demand side of the housing market. Sure.
Of the current
Listen,
market, right?
if
Not
undocumented immigrants did not participate and or contribute to the
That's
supply
future.
side of the housing market, right? Then you would be right. But the fact is, they do participate in the
But
supply
that's only,
market.
that only works if Americans don't step into those positions and still build houses, which they will.
Okay. Well, then if they will, then explain to me how we already have 8 million open job opportunities that Americans aren't filling.
Because the labor's cheaper to hire somebody that's undocumented because you don't have to pay them through taxes and stuff. So it's cheaper to hire an undocumented worker.
Well, I mean, undocumented workers do get lower wages on average, but not for the
It's
reason.
like slave labor. Yeah.
And
Oh, wait, really?
They shouldn't be treated that way. Do you think that they should be given a pathway to
No, I
citizenship
don't.
so
I
that
do
you can-
not.
Wait,
I think it's. I think
Wait,
it's.
wait, wait. So
I
you don't
think
want to
it's
reduce
terrible.
slavery?
Oh, I'm
I
going to
do
bring up
want
a
to
point.
reduce
Because if
slavery.
you don't give them a pathway to citizenship, then you're going to admit that they're going to put themselves in conditions specifically in which that will occur.
There's
Because it is the
currently a
case that they
pathway
would
to
prefer that to
citizenship.
deportation.
There's already currently a pathway to citizenship. Is there not?
No, not for them staying in the country. Because you know that
Yeah,
given
there
that
you
that's
go.
the case, that they're going to
Yeah.
prefer to stay in
So-
the country,
so you had to
given those
caveat
wages
that.
and get exploited.
You had to caveat that with if they have to stay here, but there's still a path for them to come here legally. They would just have to leave and come back.
Yes, you understand that they're going to choose to stay in the country and not leave and come back with an unspecified time of how long it's going to take to go through said process.
Yeah, I get that.
I got to drop. I appreciate you for letting me out, man.
No, thank you.
seeing you,
You're
man.
very respectful. Appreciate it.
Yeah. See you guys.
Good
Yep.
seeing you. You got anything else?
No,
you
my
wanna add or
argument
talk
was just
about
they already
before-
have a pathway.
Not really.
Go ahead.
Not staying staying in
I
the
mean-
country. So you know that given that that's the case, they're going to choose to what's it
Just
called?
because it's
They're
inconvenient
going to
doesn't
choose
mean
to
it
stay in
doesn't
the
exist.
country in the context of those set of circumstances. So if you want
Just
to
because
reduce the
it's un-
likelihood of that happening, well, then you should advocate for providing a pathway to citizenship.
Why would I advocate for somebody who broke our laws?
You advocate for Trump.
I don't advocate for Trump. I just voted
Yes,
for him.
you do. You're supporting Trump right now and advocating for him on the stream right now.
Fair point. Fair point.
Fair point. Anything
Fair
else
point.
you have to talk about?
What else would you like to talk about? You want to talk about the mass rioters? I heard you mention that. Let's talk about
Yeah,
the
the
mass.
ones that Donald Trump pardoned and called patriots after they assaulted police officers on January 6th
How many FBI agents were there undercover?
under the Trump administration's FBI.
Yes. No,
So-
go ahead. How
So
many?
the
how
Trump
many FBI agents were there
administration,
undercover?
FBI specifically sent people to rile people up on January 6th, and you think that's a fault of
Yeah,
the
they also
Democrats?
spied on his
Then why did do you agree with Trump that they were the Biden administration FBI before Biden
Yes.
was in office?
Yes,
Before
I do.
Biden was in office?
Before, no, it wasn't the Biden. Let me.
He said
caveat,
it was the
wasn't-
Biden
wasn't
administration FBI, and
Yeah,
Biden
that's
wasn't even
kinda
in
dumb.
office yet.
I agree with that. That's kind of dumb. But
Then
listen,
why'd you agree with it without even listening, dude? That's crazy.
no, I meant like his Democrat FBI. So
How is it that the Democrat
I'm pretty
FBI
close.
under Trump's FBI?
because there's a lot of career FBI agents there, so they take policy
That
positions.
Trump appointed?
They're very political. No, not Trump. Trump didn't appoint them.
Trump
Just like the
appointed
CIA
head
is pretty much owned by
twice.
Clinton.
Trump appointed the head.
Yeah, the
on
head.
January 6th. That was the second one.
No, I understand that, but he doesn't. Not the agents in New York, the New York office, the FBI agents, especially the one that raided Mar-a-Lago. You think he appointed them?
No, I think he appointed the head of the FBI.
Okay.
I
yeah,
don't know if he
I
appointed
understand
all of
that.
those specific people.
No, he doesn't. I mean, the head hires them, but yes. Okay. But what I'm saying is there's career people working at the FBI that actually take a political side, so they're not non-biased. So there's especially the CIA, man. There's a lot of Clinton people at the CIA. So we used to say that the CIA was owned by Clinton and the FBI was owned by Obama. That's
What are you
that's the
saying?
rhetoric on the right.
I know, but that's incoherent. There's no basis in evidence for that.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, so then like, what's your reasoning here? Like, I mean, Donald Trump
we're
has
talking about-
pardoned violent rioters who beat police
No,
officers.
I brought up
He
masks. And you
supported
jumped
riots.
on that January
And
6th.
you can't give can you give me a single circumstance, say, of a Democratic congressperson supporting political violence?
Maxine Waters.
Give me the circumstance. What circumstance
she,
did not?
she raised funds to bail out the BLM rioters.
Which particular funds?
I mean, you can look it up. She raised funds to bail out BLM rioters.
Was it the specific intention to bail out rioters?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really? Give me a source.
She purposely, man. I'll have to look it up.
Go ahead. I'll give you time. I'll thank some people in the meantime.
Sure, that's no problem.
Chase, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 10. Thank you so much, Chase. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Caleb, thank you so much for the 1. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I haven't seen it yet. No. Melissa, thank you for the 3. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You got banned. That's why he doesn't have one. Molinari, thank you so much for the 10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Chloe, no, Dean and I are definitely closer. Oh, you got a flag. You got a flag. Maggie, thank you for the 10. Thank you. And Tracy, thank you for the 10. So I have to go on to the next person, actually. I have to catch up on YouTube as well, everybody. Let me catch up on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. How many likes we had on YouTube? But we are at, 1,700 likes? Let's try to get to 3,000, everyone. We need 1,300 more likes. Let's try to get to 2,000 real quick, everybody. Or not 2,000, or I guess we're almost to 2,000. Let's try to get there first before we try to get to 3, I guess. Tree, thank you so much for the 10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nina, thank you for the 10 as well. Cody, thank you for the 5. Nina with the 5. Cody again as well. Thank you for the 5. Lucia, thank you so much for the 5. Thank you so much. Green 4, thank you for the 2. Pia, thank you for the 5. Karis, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you are. I'm glad that you are. I actually don't. I don't off the top of my head. I don't have like a specific one, I would say. Rachel, thank you so much. Again, thank you for the 5. I did say, yes, you could try to make sure to DM me on Instagram, and I'll see if I remember to do so. Alrighty, everyone, let's get the next person up here real quick. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up, how old are you? Yo, what's up, how old are you? Okay, let's go to the next person. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It'll help get out to more people. If you want to support me, as always, V, C, and P is in the comment section or in the link tree in the bio. I can't say the specific names anymore. TikTok doesn't let me, apparently. That's what Dean said, at least. Yo, what's up, how old are you? Najia, thank you for the $5 for happy 1 million on Insta. Yeah, that's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. Tree, thank you for the 10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so glad that I can. I'm so glad that I can. I'm glad that we can provide a community here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Nino with the 10 as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Let's make sure to get on to the next person here real quick, everybody. I'm trying to get someone up here. I do apologize. Give me 1 second, everyone. I have about 38 minutes left on the stream, so we probably have like 1 or 2 more people left on the live, everyone. Appreciate the you're amazing. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, so I just have a few quick things.
Okay. Doesn't sound like they were a Trump supporter. Typically, people answer my questions first.
What's up?
Yo, what's up? How old are you?
24.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
What's your birth year?
2000.
What month?
October
What day?
30th.
Okay, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I wasn't a voting age.
No, if you had the ability.
Trump.
And you weren't of the voting age, or you just, how old did you just say you are?
I'm 24.
You were definitely of voting age.
No, I just didn't vote.
Because you said that, I'm actually going to kick you. That makes me think that you're not actually old enough. You weren't old enough? What are you talking about, dude? What? He's older than me? I'm like, what? Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen.
Parker. 19.
Do you support Donald Trump?
You know it.
What's your birth year?
2006.
What month?
May.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Why so?
Well.
Have you been on my stream before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
Yo, what's up? How old are you? Great. Let's go to the next person. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Let's try to get to 3,000 fucking likes, everybody. 3,000 likes. I think we can do it, everybody. I think we could do it. Let's run that shit up. Let's run that shit up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Let's get to 2 fucking million. We're almost there, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you? All right, give it a second, everyone. I'll get someone up here in the meantime. Give me 1 second. Sometimes it takes a second in the meantime, I guess, to get people up here. Give it 1 second. What's up? How old are you?
Oh, shit. Fuck the orange fascist.
Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
It's just a debate me.
Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, what's going on? I'm 35.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I am currently in the military, so I have to obey the orders of the President of the United States.
Like, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Let me just say this. So, I have served under 3 presidents, and I have not voted for the current president.
No, like, if you could go back in time, the level of knowledge right now, would you go back and vote for Donald Trump?
I would not.
Okay. Alrighty. Whoa. I just unplugged. How is my... Can you guys still hear me? How the hell? I unplugged that and it still worked. I'm so confused. I accidentally unplugged one of... Okay, I don't know how that happened. Alright, well... I thought it would have cut out my audio. I guess we're fine. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yo, what's up? How old are you? This is real fun. This is really, really fun. I'm having a great time right now. Let's get the next person up here. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We're just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Hello? Okay, woo! We're having a great time getting some debates going. Let's go. This is amazing. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We're having some great great luck right now. Incredible luck getting some debates going. If you like this stream, everyone hit the thumbs up. You know, for all these amazing debates we're getting right now. You know what I mean? We're getting so many. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
What's your birth year?
January 18th, 2007.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Okay. Why so?
I'm gonna ask you about this. When Democrats say that they support women's rights, how are they supporting women's rights, but they want men in women's bathrooms? Shouldn't women have the privacy to be in their own bathroom without men being in there?
Trans women are women. Trans men are men. But if you actually thought that yourself, you wouldn't support Donald Trump because he bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. Right? And an 18-year-old came out and said there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms while Donald Trump would barge in. So if you cared about men invading women's spaces, well, then you wouldn't have voted for the guy who did so himself and bragged about it.
Okay, well, how are you going to say that a man who says that they're a woman is a woman if they have the body parts of a biological male?
That's not what it is. So how am I to say trans women are women and trans men are men? Because gender and sex are not the same. Sex is biological. Gender is going to be used in a connotation in which we have certain types of commitments or desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with a certain sex as a prescription of our identity. That's how we view gender in this concept. So it's going to be based upon a social identity, right? It's not biological in that sense. So we're not denying biology. We acknowledge biology while simultaneously saying that gender and the way that we're using it is not biological in this sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It's not like incoherent for us to do. We still acknowledge the biological usage of the terms. We just think that in this connotation, the way that we typically use them in society isn't in the biological usage, but it's actually more in like a social usage.
Yeah, I understand that. I do have another question about, a lot of people are talking about Trump said he wouldn't start no new wars, and then they're talking about how he continues the
Oh, you cut out. I can't hear you while you swipe out of the app, seemingly. Kevin, thank you so much for the 20. Thank you. And Tony, thank you so much for the 5, by the way. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. They just left, by the way. Let's make sure to get on to the next person here real quick, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Why do I feel like I'm just about to get like some super insane Maga on the live? Yo, what's up? How old are you? How old are you? Okay, let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Okay. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. So the next person, only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, I'm 19.
What's your birth year?
2006.
What month?
July.
You said you're 19?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I would absolutely vote for Donald Trump.
And why is that?
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of the policies he's been enacting recently. He's a pretty good guy.
Disgusting. You're fucking gross, dude. I'm sorry, chat. That's disgusting. That fucking absolute gross motherfucker. That's why you should go to YouTube, everyone. That's why you should go to YouTube. That guy's fucking disgusting. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's fucking gross. Mods, can you ensure that fucking person is banned? Like that's actually fucking disgusting. And if you didn't see it, be happy you didn't. Be happy you didn't. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
40.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I'd still vote for Trump.
Okay, why so?
I think the U.S. is in the best place it's been in years. Militarily, financially, I think we can all agree Trump's not.
1 second before chat, they
the
flashed
most-
the stream. That's what happened. It's gross. I just genuinely like. I don't want to bring too much attention to it other than like I want to get that person to be held accountable. It's fucking gross that they're able to do that. They should be literally in prison. Like that's actually fucking disgusting. Okay, where's the Trump administration like, cracking down on that? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. All right. Go ahead. You were saying why do you support Trump?
No, I was just saying I feel like the United States is in, the best place it's been in years. Like I said, militarily, financially, but yeah, Trump's a goofball. He is. He says some shit that doesn't need to be said. He's got a big mouth, but overall, I think what he's done for the country is special. That's my opinion.
Okay. So like,
I feel like we're stronger than we've ever been.
Could you name anything specific that he's done that has made us stronger than we've ever been before?
Well, I think the way he's dealing with the conflicts, the wars, and things like that, and jobs are up, gas is down, food's down, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I mean, some of these things are just no other president's done for us before. So I feel like, he really does care about the American people, regardless of the crazy things he does.
Okay.
As a person.
There's a few issues with what you've said here. One, gas prices are up since Trump got in office. Food prices are up since Trump got in office. The jobs report is actually down, and Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he claimed that the information coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics was politically biased information because he couldn't believe that it was possibly true. Then he put someone else into the office, and they indicated even less jobs for the next month. We're like 7 to 10 times less on new jobs on a monthly basis comparative to last year under Biden. And then for quote-unquote no tax on tips and OT, it's just a deduction for tips in overtime, meaning you can only deduct a small percentage of the income that you would make. It's just a certain amount, depending like on how much you make. Like some people won't even be able to get the max amount they could because they didn't make enough to do that off of tips. So there's plenty of things like there's it's not no tax on tips for everyone. It's only a small portion of the income for most people.
Yeah, no tax on overtime is pretty huge as well.
But it's only a deduction. It's
not everybody gets overtime.
Tips for everyone.
Still, I understand, but still, I think it's a great thing, and I feel like gas is down. I remember just a few short years ago, gas was $4 a gallon, and now it is, $2 something, $2.50, which is pretty low. As low as it's been in a while.
Okay, so gas is not down. Gas has gone up. Actually, if you look at the national average, according to the Energy Information Administration, it's $3.16 on average in the country.
Yeah.
And that's up from, I think it was $3.07.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on average in the country. So gas prices are up. So given that you hear this now, what makes you think we're doing financially better off now?
I still feel like we are. Like I said, I know that you're saying the gas prices are up, but they seem to be down. I think most people would agree. If
we might feel like that, but like we're wrong if we think that, because the data indicates that it's gone up since Trump got in office.
Yeah.
So And also food's gone up in price.
Hmm. Yeah, food's high. Food's high. I agree with you there.
Okay. So if food's gone up in price and gas has gone up in price, the jobs are down. Every indicator you brought up, it's actually it's worse off for Trump, actually. So it seems like we're financially doing worse off according to the measures that you used yourself.
I don't know. I think that it's kind of like it's ebbs and flows. It goes up, it goes down. We might be in a little bit of an ebb right now, but
But I thought Trump was going to bring it down. Didn't he say he was going to bring it down?
you gotta give him a little time.
So
Gotta
now
give
we
him a
have
little
to
bit
give
of
him
time.
time. So now that we're not financially better, we need
He's
to give him
working on
time
it.
to make us financially better.
Yeah, I think we do. I think
How
everybody
much
needs to just give
how
him a
much time
chance.
do we need to give him?
I don't know. I don't have a specific time span, but I think we'll get there. That's my opinion, obviously.
Okay, so if we're like 3 years in and we're doing worse, would you like blame him?
I think, but I'd have to be in that situation, to answer that question. But truly feel like it's going to get better. I do,
And what tells you that?
I just believe it. We all have. That's what we all have to do is hope. Hope things get better.
So like you would say you don't really have any reason to?
I don't. I like I said, I really believe he's doing the right thing for the country. I think he wants to lower prices if he hasn't, like you're saying, if he hasn't already. And I feel like he's really working to make things better. I know there's a lot that goes
Can I
on
ask you a
with the
question?
ICE, and
What policy is
I'd
Trump
love to
advocate?
hear.
What policy is Trump advocating for to reduce prices in the country?
I don't know exactly any policy, but I think he's working towards it. I don't know exactly how, but I believe he will.
Okay. So then, like, how do you know
I
that
think
he's
there was a lot
actually
of
going to
money
do that?
wasted.
'Cause I'm just asking, like,
I
what
feel like the last
he's advocating
administration.
for. I'm just asking what he's advocating for.
Well, I'm just saying, just like the tax on tips and overtime, those are things that are saving people money that other administrations didn't do.
Overall
So
income
those
earners.
things alone
Sorry.
those things alone are pretty big, but
Overall income
yeah,
earners under $400,000 a year will pay more in taxes because of Trump, because tariffs increase taxes disproportionately on income earners that are lower income, and Kamala Harris would have kept income taxes that Donald Trump did through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act for income earners under 400,000, where she was only going to increase taxes on income earners over $400,000 on their income over 400,000. So actually, everyone who's making less than 400K would actually save in taxes under a Harris administration compared to Trump.
right. What about Biden? I mean, you don't think that administration was just throwing money around for no good reason, called our tax dollars
No,
that we
I think
worked
that
hard?
no, the Trump administration signed off on $4 trillion more debt-related spending comparative to the Biden-Harris administration. So actually, the Trump administration was the one doing that.
Yeah.
And that's from the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, a bipartisan committee from the federal government.
Yeah. I still don't think I'd change my mind, but I do appreciate the the talk, and like I said, we'll see in the next in the coming years if things change. I hope they do. I hope they only continue to get better. But I do appreciate your time, and it was nice talking to you. I saw your a few of your videos. I saw your really cool Charlie Kirk debate when y'all sat around in a circle.
The surrounding
And
Kelly.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
And
Well, I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much. Please
all right, take
watch
care.
back the conversation. I hope you critically think about the views that we've talked about. Appreciate you coming up.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to the next person, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Sadie, thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate it. Don't worry. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Sarah, thank you for the 10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes, I do.
What's your birth year?
July '06.
What month? Oh, you said July. So if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Actually, Parker, I'm not here to debate that with you. I have one.
Okay. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, get on Battlefield.
To the next person, only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. And Parker, you're paid by the DNC. Watch it. Watch it. It's about to come. I see it. I can see the future. Watch it. Yo, what's about to you?
Yo, Parker, you're paid by the DNC.
Okay, come on. I knew it was gonna be someone trolling. Look at that. Let's do the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you? You know what's funny? Whenever I fucking say that, chat, I swear it's the same guy who's trolling who says that. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's like it's the best timing. It's like I'm randomly clicking people's names, you know, and I just happen to click his name. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, what's going on? I'm 35.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Sure, why not?
If you could
Yeah,
go
I
back
know,
in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Let's just say I vote for Donald Trump. Now, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. I don't believe you. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Alrighty. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yo, what's up? How old are you? Alrighty, only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen, everybody. We're just looking for some debates. I'm trying to find people up to add up on the stream, and it's really, like, I'm struggling. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
24.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I support him.
What's your birth year?
2000.
What month?
October 30th.
Okay. And did I already talk to you?
Yeah, it was about the Kamala Harris running for president. She was also vice president. And they joined.
Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 18.
What's your birth year?
2007.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, a month.
June 22nd.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
And why is that?
I just support him on things.
He just left. Okay, bro. What's going on? Chat, what's going on? Yo, what's up? How old are you? Okay. Oh, chat, this is getting brutal. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, I'm 26.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do, yes, sir.
And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I did vote for Trump,
And why
and
is
I would
that?
do it again. So I am going to tell you, I had a debate with Dean once before as well. I am a law enforcement officer in the United States, obviously, and I voted for Trump. And a part of that is because of the border control. I heard you debating earlier about that as well. And there are things that I agree with you on, and there are things I disagree. The big thing that I disagree with is the notion that if we allow illegals in, then we are going to make it easier for the ones coming in legally because the line won't get longer. However, under prior administrations, the ones who were coming in illegally were purposely getting caught by Border Patrol. And then they were getting to cut the line because they would be issued an alien number, sent to a location city where they would reside, have to check in, and then they would have their hearings. But during that time, they were being put
That's
to
the asylum process. That's the legal process.
right.
So there's a
Absolutely.
distinction between someone coming to the country through the process undocumented, right, and coming through a legal process from the federal government.
Right. And through that process, though, those people who are seeking asylum legally, they're still, and I'm only using the example as Mexico or Canada, whichever, coming into the United States, they are getting pushed back because of the people who are choosing to come into the United States illegally and then seeking asylum by jumping that line.
So seeking asylum is a legal process. So you say jumping the legal line. The legal process for asylum is meant to do that, because it's people who are being persecuted on different protected classes.
Sure. So if I'm going to use the example of Canada. If I live in Canada and I'm still living in Canada and I begin the paperwork and the legal due process to seek asylum in the United States while still living in Canada, that's one thing. However, if I come to the border and I choose to cross over the river, come onto the United States soil, wave down Border Patrol like that is what happened and happens less now, they automatically issue the alien number, and then you begin the asylum process while on U.S. soil, and then the people doing it from outside the borders
Talk about
are
the legal
then
process. So you disagree with how the legal process works for asylum. If you wanted to rework that, well, you'd support some policy on the asylum process. What policy on the asylum process has Trump instituted that you agree with?
So, and with that, I think it comes down to, I agree with the tightening of the borders. I agree with the deportation of illegals. And
I'm asking what aspect of the asylum process did he change that you like?
It's not that he changed any specific part of the process. It's the fact that tightening up the border prevented that line hopping. I believe that everyone should be welcome
I
to the
don't even
United
know what
States.
that means, because people can go through the asylum process either way, regardless of whether or not you have like restrictions in the place. If you have no determination that's different in terms of the asylum process, people can just continue to go through said legal process. So I'm really confused as to how it was changed at all in relation to the context of the asylum process, insofar as that you would support that. Because actually the bipartisan border bill that Donald Trump called for people in Congress to undermine, that actually had a aspect of it that incentivized more immigration judges specifically to deal with the amount of people who are coming through the asylum process to make that process go quicker.
Yeah, so with what I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with you as far as that something needs reworked on the legal front, right? And I acknowledge that there needs to be something that happens, right? The thing that is what I'm saying here, okay, is that if I come into the United States illegally, right, there are people who are trying to do it legally, the right way, that are going to be documented. Coming into the United States undocumented, they were waving down Border Patrol, is what I'm saying. And they were getting added to the asylum list.
No, that makes no sense. If they came into the country undocumented, that would mean that they didn't go through the legal process. If they came through the process of asylum, they did go through the legal process. So I don't know what you're saying right now.
So they're coming across the border, not legally. They are crossing over illegal boundaries. They're not coming through a port of entry. They then would hit the red button that says help, because there are the emergency buttons to summon Border Patrol, right? Border Patrol would show up. They'd be purposefully detained by Border Patrol. They'd be sent to a center, processed, issued an alien number, and then sent to a safe city.
So if they're going through the asylum process, which is a legal process, you're saying that all it is the case that Border Patrol is specifically is allowing for someone to go through the legal asylum process.
The problem is they're being allowed to stay on U.S. soil during that process.
Okay, so
And
you
then
want them to not stay on U.S. soil. Where should they stay?
they should rightfully go back to their proper country, because the problem is
So they're
that
seeking asylum from a country. They should stay in this country that they're seeking asylum from while they're trying
Yes,
to
it's
get
no-
their claim processed. The whole point of the asylum process is to ensure that people are able to get away from areas they're being persecuted in. That's the point of the asylum process. So if you make them stay in the countries that they are seeking asylum from, you are putting them at risk of death and persecution.
That's a pretty extreme notion right there, because
That's what
we're
the asylum
talking
process is for. Do you even know what you're talking? The asylum process is for situations where people are being persecuted based upon protected classes.
Right, and we're saying that everyone who crossed over the border was being put into this process. Everyone. You could come
That's not
from
true. That's not true.
in droves. I mean, in droves. Again, so I don't work on a border town. I'm nowhere near the border, to be fair. I have friends who are border patrol, and it's hearsay regardless. And if we wanted to kind of deviate from that, even so, one of the bigger problems within America also is that if we have undocumented people coming in from other countries, and we have further issues that they are unable to be recorded, right? We have them committing crimes daily, right? Rape, murder, all kinds of things that are very heinous in the United States. We wouldn't have known what crimes they committed in their home country until we caught them here, and then we did deport them. We would have never known about it.
So we would not know specifically unless we incentivize them to go through the legal process and go through the vetting process. More people will go through said vetting process if we make the legal process go quicker, if we incentivize the process to go quicker in terms of the asylum process, and if it is the case that in terms of the legal immigration process, we provide a pathway to citizenship for those that are in the country that have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, because it will incentivize them to go through the legal process, we'll identify who they are, and then while we're doing that, law enforcement will have an easier time identifying anyone who has committed a violent crime or bad crime, because they're not focused on deporting people who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, right? Specifically, rather than like people who have been in the country who have like not committed any type of bad crime, right? They're focused on the people who have committed bad crimes. Does that make sense?
I understand and respect where you're coming from, and I will say that a minority of law enforcement is Border Patrol, and with that, a minority of that is ICE, and a minority of that of law enforcement in general is focused on deporting, right? Like, I would never ever be one of those guys who goes out there and just goes looking to deport someone. That is not what I want to do. That is not what I wake up.
Saying. That's not what I was saying.
I know.
I meant like law enforcement in this context, right, for the border, right? They would have an easier time identifying people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes because they're not focused on deporting people who haven't been in the country for 20 years and are living their lives and working and like trying to support their communities.
So and I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you, and I mean no disrespect by it. If I come to your house and I say, I like what you have to eat better than what's at my house, and I'm going to take what you have to eat because I like it better than what's at my house, is that okay? Because that is essentially the same lines. I'm choosing to come into your house and eat from your fridge instead of just eating from my fridge because I like what you have better than what I have at my house.
This isn't comparable, and I'll tell you why this isn't comparable. Because we think that there shouldn't be a border between, say, Nevada and California. Yeah, that doesn't mean people from Nevada can just walk into my house and to take from my fridge. Do you see how that doesn't make any sense? Because I believe in an open border between Nevada and California does not entail that someone from Nevada can just like walk into my house and do that. Do you understand that like the border for the country is viewed differently than specifically it is for like the context of one particular household? I'll give you another example. If you're particularly comparing it to that, like I am an owner, right, of the United States because I'm a citizen, right, in the same way that like I'm an owner of a house and I have exclusive control over it. Well, anyone who's in the country undocumented who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime, I can authorize them access into our country because I'm one of the owners of the house, right? And if you're in a house and there's people who like are roommates in that house and they, offer people to come in and those people are hanging out within that particular person's room, right? That's allowed. They wouldn't be trespassing because they were allowed to be in by someone who's a particular owner of that house. So if I'm a citizen and I can grant ownership of anyone specifically who I want to, well, then I grant this to any undocumented immigrant who's in the country who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime. So do you see how like that type of reasoning doesn't make any sense and applicable to this type of context? Because it would mean that like I could just authorize any undocumented immigrant because I'm a citizen?
And I'd say in that same context that would mean that you could authorize, like you said, any immigrant into the country to say yes for your neighbor then. At the same time, your neighbor can't say yes for that person to enter your home. I mean, I can understand where they're not comparable, but I could also see a comparison that lays underneath as well. I can't say yes for the government, and the government can't say yes for me on certain landscapes, but they do and they don't at the same time. I believe that there is reform that needs to be had, and I think that at the same time we need to have some kind of better process that allows for people to come here legally, safely, and in a manner that benefits the United States. I am pro growth and I am pro immigration. I am not pro handing out US dollars that is our tax money to other countries and issuing money to families as legal aid, right? I mean,
So then you disagree with the $40 billion the Trump administration is sending to Argentina?
I would openly say yes. I mean, just because I support Trump doesn't mean that I'm going to support every single detail of what he does. I'm a very middle type man where I can say, you're right, I'm wrong. And I'd say Trump is wrong in a lot of facets, but at the same time, when we look at the $40 million, we look at, I'm blanking on what country it was. We were issuing aid packages for individuals to move here because their country was at war, and I cannot remember, Burmese. So we issued
So
huge
you don't
aid.
want to accept refugees?
Absolutely, I do. Here's the issue where it goes is that we accept refugees, that's fine. However, we accept one and we issue an aid package to set them up here in America. And then numerous other follow, and then they all live in one house. And I'm seeing this like at local level, seeing this where 10 of them will live in one house and just use that one person's money, and the rest came in illegally, not on that legal aid, not through refugee status.
What are you? I'm so confused. I don't know the context of what you're talking about. Are you saying people are coming through the process undocumented and you don't like it, or are you saying what are you trying to say?
So what I'm saying is that the U.S. government's issuing checks, right? And I'm using the Burmese population as a reference point because they were issued these aid checks during their war to come over to the United States, refugee status. One person in the household would be given this grant money to help them get established in the United States. The problem with that was that now you have 10 more people who illegally come to the United States that did not go through the process, that then live in the same household as that person and just use their
Give me
money.
any source in that other than just like you're claiming this?
It's firsthand. It's literally firsthand. I see it. I see it. Like it's a lived thing.
So then you don't know the proportionality of this, right? You would just say that you've seen this maybe once or twice.
No, I'd say it's very, at least in my local area, it is a prevalent thing, right? And I am not in a small region. So I'm in a densely populated area without trying to dox myself. So with that being said, I'm A-okay with welcoming in people. What I'm not okay with is where we set up others for success, but not our own American people. And then
the issue is you're trying to brand this as like a democratic policy that people are allowed to come into the country and then live in a particular person's house who's being funded by the government, right? Like, and it's your only like evidence for that claim is, oh, bro, I've seen this, man. And like I get it, like because you're trying to say that like you've seen this, but how could I determine proportionalities based upon this? How could we determine that it's related to the national perspective in terms of policy? How is it specifically relating to anything to do with Donald Trump's policy? How would his policy affect that? How would it reduce this from happening?
So you're absolutely right. I mean, so you're right. There's no statistic that I can provide to you right off rip. I could probably go digging for them, but I'm also not going to waste your time sitting on here and do that, right? Number one, because I'd have to go off this, and I don't want it to disconnect just because of that. Number two, it's one of those things that it's just lived. I mean, I understand that you have the ability, and this is your job to do the research, to live off statistics. Statistics are one thing, living it is another. And I think under Trump as well, we have seen a huge decline, massive decline in narcotics coming across the border. We've seen a massive decline in general crime, I'd say, when it comes to larger issues such as sex trafficking and narcotic trafficking and
So can you give
weapons
me
trafficking.
what's the source for this? Is it just like another anecdote?
No, so actually, again, I am not going to close this to go look for it at the moment. If you wish to, you can. After I debated Dean probably about a month and a half ago, I got curious myself because he really did make some great points, as do you. So I went researching, and I did find that under Trump, if you look at the numbers, the amount of narcotics that were seized at the U.S. border, it actually went up compared to previous presidents. Now,
So
one would say
so that means more narcotics are going across the border.
being seized.
Yeah.
So
it's
there's a huge difference.
Couldn't that just also be that more is going across the border?
No, it means more is being found. It means more is being seen. If you give the financial,
no, but more being seen doesn't necessarily mean that it's because the Trump administration's policies that are finding more of what existed prior. It could be that more influx into the country is occurring, and then it's being found more because more of an influx is coming to the country. Does that make sense? So you'd have to identify the cause. You're just deciding a correlation.
you're right. Correlation does not equal causation. However, at the same time, working with narcotics, one of the big things that we're seeing a huge decline in is fentanyl, and there is correlation.
You can't say that on the live. No.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm gonna end it here anyway. Because you can't say it on the live. I have to. It's gonna limit the push. You know, actually, you know what? They could probably just come back, and I guess it would. And I guess I've already had so many. I'm gonna play it safe because I've already had multiple things in the past. I'll let them come up again in the future. They said F drug, chat. They said F drug. You can't say that. I'm gonna get off for tonight though. So let me say thank you to a few people. They're definitely welcome to come up again. We can finish our conversation. I'd love to talk to them about January 6th. Charles, thank you for the 25. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Alex, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much on Cash App. I think I'm fully caught up on Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. I'm going to say now because we're at the end of the stream. Maxley, thank you so much for the $50 on YouTube Super Chat. Give me some W's for Maxley in the comment section right now for the $50 on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Maxley. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's so kind of you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. W's from Maxley in the comment section, as well as Tommy. Thank you for the $50 on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Literally, though, that's why they implemented a court order that they can't go into the context of courts. I saw that from like a federal judge, I'm pretty sure. It's actually fucking crazy that they're going into court systems and doing that. That's like actually nuts. Like as soon as they get out of the courts. Thank you so much, Tommy. Yes, thank you so much, Doherty. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. GQ, thank you so much for the $1. Entry, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alrighty, everyone. If you're on YouTube, I would really appreciate if you like the stream. Go check out some of the videos that I've posted. I would really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for coming through. I will see everyone tomorrow. I think tomorrow I might be on earlier in the day, probably maybe 9 a.m. I'll keep everyone updated. Depends. It honestly depends on if my girlfriend has work or not. But yeah, I'll keep you all updated. I'd recommend to go to my Instagram. You can see it there. But yeah, I love everyone. Have a fantastic night. I will see everyone tomorrow. Good night, everyone. I love y'all so very, very much. So very, very, very much. So very, very, very much. I love everyone. Everyone also, you can go to Santana's stream. Santana's live right now, as well as Erica. Make sure to go into the Santana stream and Erica's stream. Spam Parker Raid, spam Love and Parker, everyone. I love everyone so much. Have a fantastic night, everyone. I'll see y'all later. Good night, everyone.